Chapter 901. 901 Meeting Another Three-Eyed God. Half an hour later, Lu Ming opened his eyes. Other than shock, there was also joy in his eyes. It could really be refined. Lu Ming discovered that other than energy such as blood essence, fresh blood, and vital essence that could be refined, intent runes could also be refined. Although the intent runes could not be completely refined and a large part would be lost in the process of refining, there was still a part that was integrated into Lu Ming's own intent runes. In an instant, Lu Ming's comprehension of the intent increased by leaps and bounds, and he improved rapidly. This feeling was extremely profound and difficult to describe in words. After refining all the intent runes of the Death Warriors, his wind and fire intents had improved greatly. Since he had not comprehended the water concept, Lu Ming made the water concept runes dissipate. Lu Ming's current mood could only be described as ecstatic. He could even devour intent runes and turn them into his own. In the future, his cultivation would improve by leaps and bounds. Ha ha ha. Lu Ming could not help but burst out laughing. So what if he had comprehended many intent realms? The more he comprehended, the faster he could improve. Lu Ming's heart started to race. He was thinking if he should comprehend other concepts. Otherwise, it would be a waste if he devoured them. Forget it. I'll wait for a while. It's not wise to comprehend a new intent right now. It'll hinder my cultivation speed. I'll consider it after the Battle of Providence is over. Lu Ming took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Now was not the time to be impulsive. There were great opportunities in the Battle of Providence. In such an environment, other people's cultivation would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. However, if he comprehended a new intent realm now, his cultivation would not improve for a period of time even with the 9-dragon bloodline. In the Battle of Providence, it was not wise to fall behind by one step. What is this place? Lu Ming immediately began to observe. He flew high into the sky and looked around. All around him were mountains and ancient trees. Lu Ming randomly chose a direction and flew forward. Hey! There's quite a lot of spirit herbs here. After flying for some time, Lu Ming discovered a few stalks of spiritual medicine growing on a cliff. There were 3 of them in total, and they were the superior grade 6th-grade spirit medicine, returning origin grass. Lu Ming flew down and waved his hand. His essential core rolled out and he plucked the 3 returning origin herbs. The moment Lu Ming plucked the returning origin grass, a light suddenly flashed in front of him. Then, a jade book condensed and formed. This jade book only had 2 pages, and there was a line of words on the surface, 3 points. This is the Book of Destiny. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he was secretly amazed. It was said that the Battle of Providence was extremely mysterious. The first year was a time to search for opportunities to improve one's cultivation and also a time to accumulate providence. Yes, to accumulate fate. During the Battle of Providence, if one could find ruins, treasures, or inheritances of experts, not only would they obtain great opportunities, but they would also obtain providence. During this period, even if you found a spiritual herb or a precious material, it would accumulate fate. Some people were lucky and could casually find a treasure trove, obtain a legacy, and obtain a massive amount of fate. Every person who participated in the Battle of Providence would obtain a Book of Providence the first time they obtained providence. The amount of providence one had accumulated, whether it was strong or weak, would all be converted into providence value, which would be displayed on the Book of Providence. It was truly a miraculous sight. It was said that luck was not only useful for one's own body, but also for one's family and friends if one obtained enough luck. It could make their luck and even their talent stronger. It would also be of great use to the sect they were in. It was said that the sect master of the sect would be the one who would receive the most benefits. This was also why the major forces attached great importance to the Battle of Providence. They did not hesitate to open all the cultivation holy lands to cultivate young geniuses. Luck was a mysterious thing, but it was extremely wonderful. In short, it had endless wonderful uses, and the more the better. Some people guessed that it might be a type of energy, an extremely mysterious energy. Furthermore, if you killed the person who had accumulated fate, you could also take a portion of the fate from him. Therefore, in the battle for providence, bloody massacres were bound to happen in the end to seize the providence of others. Boom! Suddenly, a loud noise came from the front. It seemed that someone was fighting. Lu Ming restrained his aura and rushed over. When he was not far away, Lu Ming rushed up a big tree and hid between the branches, looking ahead. This is. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly shrank when he saw it. He was shocked. In front of them were two burly beings covered in black scales. They were attacking a human heaven's favorite. There were two horns on the heads of the two creatures and an eye in the middle of their brows. Lu Ming was all too familiar with this kind of living being. Three-eyed god race. This was the three-eyed god that Lu Ming had encountered on the small island when he first entered the heaven realm. How was this possible? Why would they encounter a three-eyed god here? Could this place be the heaven realm? Lu Ming was greatly shocked. The two three-eyed gods were at the 7th level of the spiritual ocean realm, while the human was at the 5th level. He was no match for the two three-eyed gods. He roared in anger, but it was useless and he was completely suppressed. Whoosh! Two beams of light shot out from the third eye of the two three-eyed god race beings. One was a beam of lightning, and the other was a beam of fire. The two beams of light pierced through the void and killed the sovereign. Lu Ming did not appear to save her. Unless it was someone from the Talisman sect, two of the other three forces wanted to kill Lu Ming. The other was the Heavenly Corpse sect, which also had a great grudge against Lu Ming. Why would Lu Ming take action? These humans have appeared again. They appear once every 20 years. Let's go back and report to the captain, one of the three-eyed gods said. And NBSB, the two three-eyed god race beings then rose into the air and left. Lu Ming flew out and his devouring power erupted, devouring the human's energy. From their tone, the three-eyed god race should be stationed here and should be very familiar with this area. If I want to search for treasures or the abodes of experts, I don't know how long I'll have to charge in blindly by myself. Obtaining information from these three-eyed god race members is the best choice. With that thought in mind, Lu Ming's body moved and he chased after the two three-eyed gods. 10,000 miles later, Lu Ming saw other three-eyed gods in a forest. There were a total of 11 of them, and it was clear that they were a small team. The two three-eyed gods from before were currently reporting something to an especially muscular three-eyed god. The strongest one should be at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. Kill. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes and he dashed out. Whoosh, whoosh. With a wave of his hand, more than 10 spears materialized and shot toward the three-eyed god. Immediately, 7 of the weaker three-eyed gods were pierced by Lu Ming's spear and killed. There were 4 more, 2 at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean tier and 2 at the 8th level. Their reactions were slightly faster, and they dodged the spear. Chapter 902. 902 Valley of the Demonic Trees. Damn the human race! A three-eyed god at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm roared in anger. A golden beam of light shot out from his eyes, piercing towards Lu Ming like a sharp sword. Lu Ming struck out with his palm and dispersed the light beam. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He realized that these three-eyed gods were very powerful. They were generally stronger than humans, and even comparable to some human geniuses. Lu Ming did not believe that the other party was a genius of the three-eyed god race. From the looks of it, he was just an ordinary three-eyed god. Bang! Lu Ming crushed the beam of light, stepped forward, and activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art. He slammed his palm onto the three-eyed celestial's body. A large part of the three-eyed god's body caved in, and his muscular body was sent flying for more than 1,000 meters, devoid of any life. Quickly retreat. When the remaining three-eyed gods saw that Lu Ming had killed their team leader with a single move, they immediately knew that they had encountered an opponent that they could not defeat. They shouted in anger and fled in different directions. You want to leave? Stay here. With a single 9 dragons heaven stomping steps, he caught up to another 9th level spiritual ocean tier expert in the blink of an eye and struck down with his palm. This time, Lu Ming didn't kill him. He only severely injured the three-eyed god before he chased after the other two. After cultivating in the ferocious beast secret realm for several months, Lu Ming had improved in all aspects. He had even cultivated the 9 dragons' heaven stomping steps to the 6th step, and its power was comparable to the peak of a high-grade demigod martial technique. His speed was extremely fast, and it did not take long for him to injure the remaining 2 three-eyed gods. And NBSB, he threw the 3 three-eyed god race members together. Now, what do I ask you? What are you going to answer? Do you understand? Lu Ming swept his gaze across the 3 three-eyed gods. Don't even think about it, human. If you want to kill, just kill. Don't expect me to say anything. One of the 3-eyed gods roared. Is that so? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. He opened his mouth and devouring power burst forth, enveloping the 3-eyed god. The 3-eyed god immediately wailed in pain before his body rapidly withered and turned into a dried corpse. All the essence was devoured by the bloodline of the 9 dragons. And NBSB, seeing this terrifying sight, the 2 remaining 3-eyed gods began to tremble in fear. What about you guys? Lu Ming looked at the 2 remaining 3-eyed gods. Speak, I'll speak. I'll tell you anything you ask. One of them shouted. I'll also say it. The other one quickly nodded. Okay, let me ask you, what is this place? Is it in the Heaven Realm? Lu Ming asked. Heaven Realm? I don't know. I was born here, and according to the clan's legend, we've been living here for countless years. One of the 3-eyed gods said. You don't know? Lu Ming frowned. I've read about it in an ancient book of my clan. The ancient book recorded that our ancestors didn't seem to have lived here in the beginning. They seemed to have been captured by someone and brought to this place. Later on, they couldn't get out, so they lived here and reproduced our clan. The other 3-eyed god was shocked when he saw Lu Ming frowning. He answered in a trembling voice. Your ancestor was captured and brought here? Lu Ming was even more puzzled. That's right. After that, I don't know when it started, but every 20 years, you human youths would come and hunt down my kind. After a while, all of you would disappear. A 3-eyed race member said. Every 20 years, a young human will arrive. That should be the Battle of Providence. However, the Battle of Providence takes place in a different region each time. Those who come and go should be people from other regions, or even people from other continents beyond the sea. Lu Ming made a guess. Is there anything special around here? Lu Ming asked. Yes, there are some strange places. Some places are very dangerous, and my clan doesn't dare to enter. Some places, once my clan enters, we will be killed. The 3-eyed god replied. Do you have a map? Lu Ming asked. Yes, there's a map in our captain's storage ring. Now that we've said everything we need to say, can you let us go? One of the 3-eyed gods asked carefully. Let you go? When did I say I would let you go? Lu Ming sneered. With a wave of his hand, 2 spearlights shot out and killed 2 3-eyed gods. And NBSB, he then controlled his 9-dragon bloodline to devour the 3-eyed god's blood essence. Then, 11 storage rings appeared in his hand. What? At this moment, a jade book flew out of Lu Ming's glabella. It was the Book of Destiny, and some words appeared on it. You have killed a 3-eyed god and obtained 313 luck points. Lu Ming's total luck value had become 316 points. Killing a 3-eyed god can actually give me fate value? And in such a huge amount. Lu Ming was shocked. He had obtained 3 level 6 spiritual herbs, but he had only obtained 2 or 3 luck points. He didn't think that killing 11 3-eyed gods would give him so many luck points. Then, his figure flickered and he left. Tens of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming sat cross-legged, refining his blood essence and energy. The 3-eyed god race cultivated the will of heaven and earth as well. The light that shot out from their third eye was condensed from the will of heaven and earth and an energy that was different from true essence. Some of the 11 3-eyed gods had comprehended the intent of thunder and the intent of fire. A part of the heaven and earth intent runes had been integrated into Lu Ming's intent runes, and Lu Ming's mastery of the intent of thunder and fire had improved. The thunder and fire intents have already reached the limit of the 2nd level completion, and I'm only 1 step away from the 3rd level intent. The wind intent is also about the same. As for the Earth intent, it hasn't reached the peak of the second level completion yet, causing my current cultivation to only reach the peak of the 8th level spiritual ocean realm. Lu Ming was deep in thought. His current cultivation was precisely at the peak 8th level spiritual ocean tier. After refining it, Lu Ming took out the storage rings he had obtained from the three-eyed god and looked through them one by one. There were all sorts of things in the storage ring. Lu Ming kept them all. He found a map in one of the storage rings and opened it to take a look. Within 1,000,000 miles, there are several strange places. I should go and take a look at these places. First, I should go to the Demon Tree Canyon, which is the closest to this place. Lu Ming looked at it for a while and made a decision. The Valley of the Demonic Trees was tens of thousands of miles away and was the closest. After keeping the map, Lu Ming rose into the air and flew towards the Demon Tree Canyon. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the Demon Tree Canyon. In front of them was a huge valley filled with mist. What? Lu Ming's moving figure suddenly stopped. At the entrance of the valley, he saw a group of figures. They were all young people from the outside world. Some were from the Heavenly Corpse sect, some were from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, and some were even from the demon clan of the Heavenly Demon Valley. The three parties stopped at the entrance of the valley and seemed to be looking inside. Upon hearing the commotion, everyone turned around and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. A cold shout rang out. Di Feng. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Chapter 903. 903 The Emperor Sword. Among the crowd, Lu Ming saw Di Feng. Di Feng, ranked 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, was the descendant of Martial Emperor Di Yi. Di Feng's eyes glinted with killing intent when he saw Lu Ming. In addition, the demons of the Sky Demon Valley also looked at him with cold eyes. Lu Ming, Wang Yang said that he wanted to keep you outside. It seems like he didn't succeed. It just so happens that you're the person the Martial Emperor Ancestor wants. If I cripple you and bring you back to the Martial Emperor Ancestor, I'll definitely make a great contribution. A powerful aura emanated from Di Feng, as a sharp sword chi burst forth from him. As I said before, if you want to kill me, you have to be prepared to be killed by me. Di Yi's descendant, you should collect some interest first. Lu Ming's eyes darkened. Kill. Di Feng waved his hand, and 7 figures appeared behind him. The 7 figures were all men of sacrifice wearing black robes and carrying long swords on their backs. In reality, there were over 20 people in the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. There were over 10 death warriors, and the rest were the young geniuses and genius characters. It was obvious that Di Feng was the leader. Each of the 7 death warriors had a cultivation at the peak of the 9th level spiritual ocean realm. The 7 of them worked together to form a battle formation that was seamless as they charged toward Lu Ming. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sword chi swept across, and the sword radiance was like a net that enveloped Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming struck out with his palm and the sword radiance was shattered. The huge palm force made the 7 men of sacrifice spit out blood and fly back. Devour. His left palm clenched into a fist and a terrifying devouring force erupted. The 7 men of sacrifice could not control their bodies at all and were devoured by Lu Ming. Their blood essence, true vitality, and even intent runes were all devoured by Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, they turned into 7 dried corpses. Everyone's eyes were filled with horror. Directly devouring people into mummies, this scene was too evil. What an overbearing demonic technique. A paragon from the Heavenly Corpse sect cried out in shock. The cultivation techniques of the Heavenly Corpse sect were all evil and powerful. Some of them could also turn people into mummies, but the speed was not as fast as this. It was too overbearing. Evil and crooked path must be cut off. Di Feng's voice was ice-cold, filled with killing intent. Buzz. The sound of a sword clashing rang out as Di Feng stepped out. A terrifying sword might burst forth, and a golden sword chi slashed towards Lu Ming. With 4 concepts surrounding him, Lu Ming struck out with his palm and collided with the golden sword radiance. Boom! A deafening explosion sounded, and the golden sword radiance dissipated. Lu Ming, you're quite capable, but you're still too inexperienced to fight me. Di Feng let out a long howl as a golden combat sword appeared above his head. A golden dragon was coiled around the hilt of the sword, giving off a mighty aura and endless sword light. 4 golden chakras were floating around the combat sword. Divine level 4th rank bloodline. The Emperor sword is a bloodline unique to the Di family. Lu Ming's heart stirred. It was said that the direct bloodline of the Di family, headed by Martial Emperor Di Yi, had been passed down through the bloodline of the Emperor sword. Of course, the same bloodline had different levels. Some were level 1 deities, while others were level 2 deities. The power was also completely different. "I'll kill you today." Di Feng's cold voice rang out. His body transformed into a ray of light, merging into the Emperor sword. Instantly, the sword chi soared into the sky, and the sword power was vast and mighty. The Emperor sword moved and the wind and clouds were split in half. The terrifying combat sword slashed down at Lu Ming's head, intending to split him in half. Di Feng was indeed very strong. His cultivation was at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and the cultivation technique he cultivated was undoubtedly a divine level cultivation technique. With the addition of the 4th level divine bloodline Emperor sword, the power he could unleash was extremely terrifying. He could definitely fight with an expert of the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm. However, Lu Ming's current combat strength was more than just at the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm. Boom! Lu Ming immediately burst out with dragon energy, and scales appeared. He activated the prison suppressing heaven technique and threw a punch at the combat sword. Clang! A melodious voice was heard. The Emperor sword trembled continuously and was actually sent flying. The others were shocked. Di Feng, ranked 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, was actually sent flying by a single punch from Lu Ming. How could Lu Ming's combat strength be so terrifying? Could it be that he had already surpassed Di Feng? Kill! Lu Ming strode forward, clenched his fist, and punched the Emperor sword again. World-slaying sword. Di Feng's furious roar came from the Emperor sword. The sword power was vast and the killing intent was sharp as it charged towards Lu Ming. Clang! The sword and the fist collided, and the Emperor sword trembled even more violently. Clang! Clang! Lu Ming swung his fist and attacked again. The Emperor sword trembled continuously and the sword power that was spreading from the sword was weakening. Bang! In the end, the Emperor sword exploded, revealing Di Feng's figure. His face was filled with fear and disbelief. Lu Ming's combat strength had surpassed him in all aspects. How was this possible? He found it hard to accept. Back at the Nine Dragons exchange meet, although Lu Ming was strong, Di Feng was 100% confident that he could kill Lu Ming. During this period of time, his cultivation level had increased again. However, he was not Lu Ming's match and was defeated. Why was Lu Ming's improvement speed so terrifying? So what if your cultivation is stronger than mine? Can't even withstand a single blow. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he strode forward, charging towards Di Feng. Buzz! Di Feng did not hesitate, turning into a beam of light as he flew towards the other side. Although there were many people at the entrance of the canyon, Di Feng was clear that none of them could stop Lu Ming. If they stayed, they would definitely be killed by Lu Ming. "You want to leave? Have you asked me?" Lu Ming stepped out, his body like a stream of light, chasing after Di Feng. Di Feng was terrified. He took out a 7th-level spiritual weapon, but it was broken into 2 by Lu Ming's punch. Boom! Lu Ming's punch was so powerful that it pierced through the void, causing Di Feng to spit out a mouthful of blood. Di Feng was even more shocked and desperately tried to escape. At this moment, a purple light was approaching them at an extreme speed. Wang Yang! Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. That figure was Wang Yang. "Wang Yang, save me!" Seeing Wang Yang, Di Feng was overjoyed and rushed towards Wang Yang with all his might. "Lu Ming, you're not dead." Wang Yang was shocked to see Lu Ming. Previously, when they were crossing the abyss, he had given Lu Ming a fatal blow and even ordered the Death Warrior to snipe Lu Ming. Under that situation, the round platform had already collapsed. He concluded that Lu Ming had fallen into the abyss and died. He was naturally shocked to see Lu Ming. Whoosh! Like a purple flame, Wang Yang crossed the void and appeared in front of Di Feng. Lu Ming, you're really lucky. Alright, since that's the case, let me finish you off myself. On Wang Yang's body, purple flames danced. With Wang Yang as the center, it directly formed a black hole. Over there, other than him, it seemed as if everyone else's physical matter had been burned to ashes. I've said it before. I'll definitely kill you. Now that I've run into you, it's just right. Lu Ming's figure did not stop as he pounced towards Wang Yang. Compared to Di Feng, he wanted to kill Wang Yang more. A fist covered in scales flew towards Wang Yang. At the same time, Wang Yang also stepped forward and threw a punch. Chapter 904. 904 Chapter 904 Battling Wang Yang. The two fists collided, and the space kept shaking. Wang Yang's body trembled as he retreated 3 steps back. As for Lu Ming, he took 2 steps back. However, his arm was covered in a layer of purple flames. The terrifying flames were terrifyingly hot, as if they were going to burn Lu Ming's arm to ashes. Even with the protection of the scale armor, Lu Ming felt a piercing pain. The true war dragon technique circulated, and the 4 wills burst forth and condensed on his arm. A sizzling sound immediately came from his arm, and the flame was extinguished. What a terrifying flame! Die! You're courting death! Wang Yang roared as the flames on his body grew even more terrifying. He seemed to have turned into a man of fire, and even his hair was covered in flames. A dragon's roar was heard as Lu Ming released 2 more bursts of dragon energy. Wang Yang was very strong. His cultivation had already reached the great circle of the spirit ocean realm, and he was half a step into the spirit embryo realm. His intent had also reached level 3. At the same time, his bloodline was at the 5th level of the divine level, and the bloodline martial techniques he comprehended from his bloodline were also high-grade demigod martial techniques. It could be said that he was not much weaker than Lu Ming in terms of intent and martial arts techniques. His cultivation base had also increased by a large margin. Lu Ming's greatest advantage was his rich essential core and dragon power. With 3 bursts of dragon energy, Lu Ming was extremely powerful and his strength seemed to be endless. Boom! Boom! As he and Wang Yang clashed, a terrifying storm of energy swept out in all directions. For a time, it was difficult to determine the winner of the battle between the two. In the distance, Di Feng was extremely shocked. When Lu Ming was fighting him earlier, he clearly did not use his full strength. Yet, Lu Ming was actually able to fight Wang Yang. Wang Yang was ranked 98th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Although he was only a few ranks higher than Di Feng, their strength was on a completely different level. Wang Yang was several times stronger than Di Feng and could easily kill him. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. Wang Yang's heart was filled with shock. Each of Lu Ming's punches seemed to contain infinite power, causing his body to tremble and his qi and blood to churn. If it was not for the fact that his flames were extremely terrifying, causing Lu Ming to be wary and need to use a portion of his power to resist his flames, he might not have been able to defeat him. Who? Above Wang Yang's head, a ball of purple flame appeared. It was similar to Wang Haoxian's purple heavenly fire, but it was much more terrifying than Wang Haoxian's. 5 dazzling golden chakras flickered as Wang Yang used the bloodline fusion. The purple flames transformed into a purple flaming divine eagle that pounced at Lu Ming. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded and the bloodline of the 9 dragons emerged. Lu Ming's body moved and merged with the bloodline of the 9 dragons. Suddenly, he turned into 9 dragons. With a long roar, he pounced on the purple divine eagle. With a roar, the devouring power burst out and enveloped the purple godly eagle. The huge dragon claw grabbed at the purple godly eagle. The purple godly eagle flapped its wings, and endless flames burst out. At the same time, it reached out its claws to grab the 9 dragons. Instantly, a dragon and an eagle began a great battle in the sky. In the distance, Di Feng was shocked beyond words. How is that possible? Di Feng roared. Back in the battle of 9 dragons, Lu Ming had activated the Nine-Dragon bloodline. At that time, the Nine-Dragon bloodline was still in the form of a five-clawed true dragon. Di Feng had seen it from afar. At that time, he was extremely shocked because he had seen Lu Ming use the prison-suppressing steely bloodline. Lu Ming actually had two divine-level bloodlines. Later on, he even saw with his own eyes that Lu Ming's true dragon form bloodline had self-destructed its chakra. But now, not only had his bloodline, which had self-destructed his chakra, recovered, but it had also reached divine level 4 and transformed into the legendary form of the Nine Dragons. All of this had broken his understanding. Could it be that the martial Emperor Patriarch wants this kind of bloodline? Di Feng's heart jumped. Lu Ming had once shouted in Nine Dragons that martial Emperor Di only wanted his bloodline. Could it be this kind of bloodline? Di Feng's heart was in turmoil. The battle between Lu Ming and Wang Yang was still difficult to determine. Now that Lu Ming and martial Emperor Di were in the open, there was no need to hide the Nine-Dragon bloodline. He would use it when he needed to. Hehe, it's really lively. At this moment, a cold voice came from the distance. A young man with an ancient coffin on his back walked over. They were the experts of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Corpse Puppet. Di Feng's eyes narrowed. The Corpse Puppet was ranked 96th on the list of top 1,000 talents, 2 ranks higher than Wang Yang. Corpse Puppet, you've come at the right time. Let's work together and kill this person. Wang Yang's voice came from the purple godly hawk. Wang Yang, join forces with you? Why? Why should I join hands with you? The Corpse Puppet sneered and stood at the side, watching with its arms crossed. Boom. The Nine Dragons and the godly eagle clashed and retreated. They didn't continue fighting and looked at the Corpse Puppet with fear. The Corpse Puppet clearly wanted to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight, taking advantage of the situation. Almost at the same time, Lu Ming and Wang Yang transformed back into their human forms and stood in 3 directions with the Corpse Puppet. Hehe, why did you guys stop? The Corpse Puppet licked its lips, its eyes extremely cold. Lu Ming looked at the Corpse Puppet, his eyes frowning. He could sense a dangerous aura from the Corpse Puppet. This person might be even more terrifying than Wang Yang. He thought of Demonic Corpse, who was ranked 102nd on the list of top 1,000 talents. They both carried an ancient coffin on their backs, and perhaps they practiced the same technique. Corpse Puppet, do you want both of us to be injured and then be killed by you one by one? Wang Yang snorted coldly. He was also extremely afraid of Corpse Puppets. As such, the 3 parties were all wary and no one made a move. Corpse Puppet, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect have always had a grudge. Why don't you and I join forces to kill Wang Yang? What do you think? Lu Ming suddenly spoke. The Corpse Puppet's eyes flickered, and when it looked at Wang Yang, its gaze became even colder. Clearly, it was moved. Wang Yang was shocked. He could not even take down Lu Ming alone. If the Corpse Puppet was added, he would definitely be in danger. Corpse Puppet, Martial Emperor Di wants Lu Ming. If you work with him, I'm afraid he'll think you're accomplices. Wang Yang hurriedly said. The Corpse Puppet's eyes immediately revealed a trace of fear. Although the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace were enemies, and the Heavenly Corpse sect's Corpse Emperor would naturally deal with Martial Emperor Di, if he was really targeted by Martial Emperor Di, even the Corpse Emperor would not be able to protect him. Haha, why would I join hands with him? You must be joking. The Corpse Puppet laughed and said, how about this? The Demon Tree Canyon is just ahead. How about this? We'll enter the canyon first. If there are treasures inside, we'll fight for them with our own abilities. How about that? All right. Lu Ming nodded. It was not a good idea to continue the stalemate. If 1 or 2 more top 100 talents on the list of top 1,000 talents came, it might be disadvantageous to Lu Ming. As for Wang Yang, it would not be too late to kill him later. I have no objections either, Wang Yang said. After that, the 3 of them and Di Feng returned to the canyon. However, the 3 of them kept a distance from each other, guarding against each other. What dangers are there in this valley? Why don't you guys go in? Wang Yang asked. Chapter 905. 905 Chapter 905 Nature Fruit. This canyon is full of hidden dangers. A few of us have already died in there. Di Feng secretly glanced at Lu Ming with a flash of killing intent. He then answered Wang Yang's question. Hidden killing intent. Then send more people to test the waters. You guys go. Wang Yang pointed at a few men of sacrifice who were carrying long swords on their backs. These men of sacrifice were not afraid of death at all. They were expressionless when they heard this. Two of them stepped forward and rushed into the canyon. The canyon was surrounded by clouds and mist. From a distance, it was a blur. Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, something shot out from both sides of the canyon, fast as lightning. Sword light flashed as the two men of sacrifice pulled out their swords and slashed out sword lights. To be honest, these death warriors had pretty good combat strength. They reached the peak 9th level spiritual ocean realm and instantly shattered those things. It looks like a tree root. Wang Yang's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming's expression changed. The things that rushed out from the two sides of the canyon did look like tree roots. Whoosh. As the two Dare to Die fighters pushed forward, more and more powerful attacks rushed out from both sides. Gradually, the two Dare to Die fighters couldn't resist them anymore and were finally entangled by the endless tree root-like things. Those things that look like tree roots should be plant-type creatures. Let the Earth Death Warriors block them while we charge in, Wang Yang said. Di Feng nodded. With a wave of his hand, a few men of sacrifice carrying large hammers rushed in. Tentacle-like things also reached out. The Death Warrior picked up the hammer and smashed it on the ground. Boom. A row of stone walls appeared on the ground, blocking the attack of the tentacles. Charred. At this moment, Wang Yang, Di Feng, Shi Xiao, and the others all rushed in. It's a death warrior who has cultivated the Earth Essence realm. Lu Ming's eyes glimmered. These men of sacrifice with big hammers on their backs were all men of sacrifice who had cultivated the will of the earth. This made Lu Ming very tempted. If he devoured their will runes, his will of the earth would definitely be able to reach a higher level. By then, his cultivation would be able to improve further. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed in. Whoosh, whoosh. The walls on both sides of the canyon seemed to have come alive. Tentacle-like things kept extending from inside. They were tough and sharp, and they kept piercing through and winding around them. The Earth Death Warriors controlled the earth and blocked it with stone walls. With a wave of his hand, an endless amount of sword chi poured out, cutting off the tentacles one by one. As for Wang Yang, with a wave of his hand, terrifying flames spread out, turning those tentacles into ashes. As for the corpse puppet, it was more unique. It was as if it was not afraid of death. It charged forward and waved its hand. Those tentacles that came into contact with it were directly broken by it. This body, no, it's like a refined corpse. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He felt that the corpse puppet's body did not seem like a human body. Instead, it was like a refined corpse. It was extremely terrifying. Whoosh. A few tentacles tried to wrap around Lu Ming but were broken by him with a wave of his hand. Bright red liquid flowed out of the tentacle. It really looks like a tree root. Lu Ming realized that these tentacles were similar to tree roots but they seemed to be alive. The deeper they went, the more roots there were. However, with everyone working together, including experts like Wang Yang, Corpse Puppet, and Lu Ming, they naturally had nothing to fear and continued to advance. All of a sudden, the roots on both sides retracted. They had reached the end of the canyon. Roar! Roar! In front of them, a few huge figures blocked their way. They were a few huge demonic beasts. No, they should be fierce beasts. In fact, there was no difference between demonic beasts and fierce beasts. However, after demonic beasts had more contact with humans, they would understand the human language and could take human form. On the other hand, ferocious beasts were more primitive beasts. They were fiercer and disdained to transform into human form. They had always maintained their beast appearance. 3 of them appeared before him. They were ferocious beasts, and they exuded a powerful aura. The first tier of the 7th level was equivalent to the aura of the first level of the spirit embryo realm. 3 Class 1 Level 7 Fierce Beasts. How about we take one each? The corpse puppet looked at Wang Yang and Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. This is only fair. Wang Yang laughed coldly, as he secretly transmitted a message to Di Feng. When we make our move, you guys take the opportunity to rush in. There's most likely a treasure in this canyon. All right. Di Feng secretly replied. Kill. Suddenly, the corpse puppet and Lu Ming charged forward at the same time. The 3 beasts roared and charged at them. Wang Yang made his move as well, each of them taking on one. Lu Ming's opponent was a rat-like ferocious beast. It was pitch black and extremely fast. Its teeth, claws, and tail were all extremely powerful weapons. Whoosh, whoosh. The rat's tail twitched like a soft whip, cutting through the space and making a sharp whistling sound. Lu Ming stepped forward and swung his fist, bombarding it with an overbearing force. Bang! His fist landed on the rat's tail and it almost exploded. The beast was in pain and let out a sharp cry. It clawed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw another punch. At this moment, Wang Yang and the corpse puppet were also engaged in battle with the other 2 beasts. Charge! Di Feng seized the opportunity and rushed in with his men. The other Heaven's favorites from the Sky Corpse sect and the Sky Demon Valley also rushed in. Boom! Lu Ming's punch landed heavily on the rat's claws. A violent force erupted wildly. The rat shrieked and was sent flying. Whoosh! Lu Ming caught up with him. A long spear appeared in his hand and he struck out. With a plop, it pierced through the rat's mouth and killed it. A first-grade 7th level beast was killed by Lu Ming with ease. Almost at the same time, Wang Yang and the corpse puppet also ended their battle and killed the demonic beasts. Although they hadn't entered the spirit embryo realm, their battle prowess was so strong that they could almost easily kill a first-level spirit embryo realm. Even if they faced an ordinary second-level spirit embryo realm, they wouldn't lose and might even win. Ah! Ah! At this moment, a few screams came from the valley. Wang Yang's expression changed as he rushed in. Lu Ming sneered and rushed in. Inside the canyon was a huge plot of land. It was very wide, and in front of it was a towering tree. It was very eye-catching. As for Di Feng and the others, they were surrounded by a few beasts. There were already a few corpses on the ground. There were 6 demonic beasts in total, and each of them had reached Class 1 Lever 7. However, Lu Ming, Wang Yang, and the corpse puppet's attention was drawn to the large tree. On the tree, there were 10 bright red fruits that exuded a mysterious aura. 1,000 elephant fruit. That's 1,000 elephant fruit. Wang Yang shouted, his eyes filled with greed. Lu Ming was also greatly shocked. It was actually 1,000 elephant fruit. It was a magical fruit that could transform the will of nature into anything. If a warrior swallowed it, the fruit would transform into the will of nature that he or she wanted to understand. It could make the warrior's will of heaven and earth improve by leaps and bounds, and even break through the bottleneck. Chapter 906. 906 The Giant Ape of the Demon Clan. If the essence realm of heaven and earth was at the completion of level 2, there was a high chance that it could break through to level 3 after swallowing the all-creation fruit. Swallowing it after level 3 could also allow one's intent to have great progress. Such a rare treasure was almost impossible to find in the outside world. He didn't expect to encounter it here. I must get it. Lu Ming roared in his heart. The nature manifestation fruit was too important to him. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming soared into the sky and pounced toward the nature manifestation fruit. At the same time, Wang Yang and the corpse puppet also soared into the sky. Get lost. The 1,000 elephant fruit is mine. Wang Yang roared. With his flames boiling, he threw 2 consecutive punches at Lu Ming and the corpse puppet. The corpse puppet also launched 2 attacks at Lu Ming and Wang Yang. They both wanted to stop each other and get the nature manifestation fruit for them levers. You're the ones who should get lost. Lu Ming activated the prison suppressing heavenly art and threw 2 punches at Wang Yang and the corpse puppet. The 3 of them retreated at the same time. In the next moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and two huge puppets appeared. They charged at Wang Yang and the corpse puppet. The two puppets emitted a powerful aura. The two puppets were both at Class 1 Lever 7. Lu Ming had bought it from the Talisman Amulet Sect's treasure pavilion before the Battle of Providence. It was meant to be used at a critical moment. With his current mental strength, he had more than enough to control a first-grade 7th-level puppet. Damn it, it's a puppet. You're an inscriber. Wang Yang was shocked and furious. He launched a violent attack at the puppet. The corpse puppet was in a similar situation. Its palm was like a blade as it slashed at the puppet. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he appeared on the big tree. With a wave of his hand, he put away the 10,000 elephant fruits. Don't even think about it. Corpse puppet, let's join forces and kill Lu Ming. Wang Yang let out a long howl, his killing intent surging like the tide. Alright, let's join forces. The killing intent in the corpse puppet's eyes was also extremely cold. The nature manifestation fruit. Lu Ming actually wanted to keep the nature manifestation fruit for himself. How was that possible? Bang! Bang! The two puppets of the first class of the 7th rank were unable to hold Wang Yang and the corpse puppet back for long. Under the violent attacks of the two, their bodies were deformed and they lost their ability to fight. However, this was enough. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed out of the canyon. Lu Ming was about to rush out. Stay here. At this moment, a huge figure rushed in from outside the canyon. He let out a furious roar and a huge black fist was aimed at Lu Ming. The fist was the size of a water tank. Before the fist arrived, the terrifying pressure brought about by the fist made it difficult for Lu Ming to breathe. This was very sudden. Lu Ming wanted to avoid it but it was too late. Without thinking, Lu Ming threw a punch. Lu Ming used all his strength in this punch, erupting the strongest power of the prison-suppressing heaven art. He did not care about the huge consumption of his essential core because this punch put him in serious danger. Boom! Lu Ming's fist collided with the huge jet-black fist. In an instant, Lu Ming felt an unimaginably huge force surging towards him. His body was sent flying backward like a cannonball, crashing heavily into the big tree. Bang! The big tree exploded, and pieces of wood flew everywhere. A burly figure appeared in front of everyone. It was a giant ape that was 10 meters tall. Its entire body was pitch black, and it shone with a metallic luster. This was a genius of the Sky Demon Valley. He had the bloodline of the ancient giant ape and was extremely powerful. He had definitely reached level 7. It wasn't even at the first grade of the 7th level, but above it. Hand over the 1,000 elephant fruit. The giant ape roared in anger and charged at Lu Ming with its huge palm. Bang! Pieces of wood flew everywhere as Lu Ming soared into the sky. At the same time, he waved his hand and a huge puppet appeared in front of the giant ape. Bang! The giant ape's palm smashed the first-grade 7th-level puppet into pieces. However, this block gave Lu Ming a chance to catch his breath. With the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, Lu Ming dashed out of the canyon. Stay here. Wang Yang and the corpse puppet attacked at the same time, blocking Lu Ming and unleashing their strongest attack. The giant ape charged from behind. Lu Ming's expression changed. He made a sharp turn halfway and changed his direction, charging toward the 5 to 6 beasts. The 5 or 6 beasts were chasing after Di Feng and the others. At this moment, Di Feng was in a very miserable state. Those who had come in had already been killed by the 5 or 6 demonic beasts. Only Di Feng and 1 or 2 other Heaven's Pride experts were still running for their lives. Di Feng was shocked when he saw Lu Ming charging at him. He instinctively slashed out with his sword. Bang! Lu Ming threw out a punch, easily destroying Di Feng's sword gleam and landing a punch on his chest. Di Feng screamed as his body was sent flying. He was caught by one of the pursuing beasts and was torn in half. The pitiful Di Feng, the 101st on the list of top 1,000 talents, had died in the claws of a beast. After the beast tore Di Feng apart, it went berserk and pounced at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure changed and he dodged the beast's pounce. The giant ape caught up from behind and punched out with its huge fist, killing all the beasts. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven stomping steps and his body flashed continuously. At the same time, he secretly released devouring power and devoured the blood essence energy of the corpses on the ground. At this moment, Lu Ming led the giant ape in a circle around the plot of land before he dashed toward the entrance of the canyon. However, at the entrance of the canyon, Wang Yang and the corpse puppet blocked it with cold expressions. Lu Ming, hand over the nature manifestation fruit and I'll let you go. You're taking it all for yourself. Don't you think you're too greedy? Wang Yang sneered. That's right. Let's split the nature manifestation fruit evenly. If we join forces, we might be able to fight this giant ape. The corpse puppet also spoke. You all have to die. The giant ape's furious roar was extremely violent. Is that so? Lu Ming charged straight at Wang Yang and the corpse puppet. Don't even think about breaking out. Wang Yang and the corpse puppet joined forces and attacked. Bang! At this moment, Lu Ming took a heavy step forward. The ground in the canyon was suddenly filled with multicolored light as formations emerged one after another. Although Lu Ming was running just now, he did not run around randomly. With every step he took, he secretly laid an inscription on the ground. The formation he had set up was naturally extraordinary. It was a level 7 formation. Endless sword light rose and attacked the giant ape from all directions. The giant ape waved its iron fist and scattered the sword chi one by one. However, more sword chi shot toward the giant ape and it was blocked. A formation? When did you set up the formation? Wang Yang and the corpse puppet were both extremely shocked. They did not realize that Lu Ming had set up an array without them knowing. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly. He took a step forward and a formation appeared on the ground. A terrifying sword radiance enveloped Wang Yang and the corpse puppet. Their expressions changed drastically. They could sense a terrifying aura from the sword light, an aura that could kill them. They had already made their move. It was too late to retreat now. Die! Wang Yang roared as his extreme purple heavenly fire bloodline appeared instantly. Just as the sword light was about to reach him, he transformed into flames. At this moment, the sword light descended and crushed the flames into pieces. Chapter 907. 907 Peak 9th Level Spiritual Ocean Realm. However, after flying for some distance, these shattered flames actually condensed back together, once again transforming into Wang Yang's appearance. However, his face was deathly pale, without a trace of blood. His body was covered with over a dozen sword wounds, blood flowing out of them. It was a terrible sight. Let's go. Wang Yang did not dare to stay any longer. He turned into a streak of fire and rushed out of the canyon in a sorry state. Compared to Wang Yang, the corpse puppet was in an even worse state. Although it had used all its means, one of its arms had still been cut off. It screeched as it escaped from the canyon. Boom! Boom! In the canyon, the giant ape continued to clash with the formation. This giant ape's strength was truly astonishing. It was incomparably powerful, and with every punch, a large amount of sword chi was shattered. Even if a few sword chi occasionally struck the giant ape, they could only leave shallow marks on its surface. This giant ape has at least 50% of the ancient giant ape's bloodline. Its body is extremely strong. This formation won't be able to hold it back for long. I'd better leave first. With a flash of thought, Lu Ming stepped into the void, his body like a stream of light, leaving the place. As expected, not long after Lu Ming left, the formation collapsed with a loud bang. The giant ape rushed out and let out an angry roar. Then, it turned into a burly young man with killing intent in his eyes. He growled, "Lu Ming, I'll kill you." With that, he strode out of the canyon. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven treading steps and was extremely fast. After leaving the canyon, he chose a random direction and went forward. Not long after, he had traveled more than 100,000 miles and found a hidden mountain forest. He flew down and set up an array in the surroundings. Lu Ming began to refine the energy. Previously, Lu Ming had devoured the blood essence and energy of the paragons, men of sacrifice, and even the demonic beasts who had died in the canyon. He circulated the bloodline of the 9 dragons and continued to refine it. I have the most earth and wind concepts. The other concepts are useless to me. Lu Ming had an idea. He directly removed the useless concepts and made the earth and wind concepts his own. Most of the earth and wind concepts came from the Death Warriors. Those men of sacrifice with big hammers cultivated the earth mentality, and those with long swords mostly cultivated the wind mentality. Lu Ming's earth and wind concepts were rapidly improving. Soon, his wind concept reached its limit, and he was only 1 step away from level 3. As for the earth concept, it had also reached the peak of level 2 upper tier. As his intent realm improved, the true essence and other energies were also being refined and transformed into true essence. Lu Ming's cultivation started to increase. Not long after, the aura on his body grew and he broke through to the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm in one go. Furthermore, it continued to increase all the way to the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm before it stopped. It had been upgraded by 1 level in one go. Hey! There are impurities in my true yuan and distracting thoughts in my intent realm. Suddenly, Lu Ming frowned. He could feel that his true yuan and intent weren't pure. There were some obstacles when he tried to use them. Although the obstacles were weak, if this continued, it would be a big problem. I know. Other people's Jin yuan and blood all have their own characteristics. I refined them, but there are still some of them left. It's even more so for the will. Every will that I comprehend has a distinct will. After I refined them, there are still some of them left. This is very normal. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and discovered the problem. He thought of his early days, when he often relied on devouring blood essence to improve his cultivation. Similarly, this would cause his cultivation foundation to be unstable and he would need time to consolidate it. Later on, he used all his blood essence to improve his bloodline and relied on devouring spiritual crystals and raw stones to improve his cultivation. He no longer had to worry about this. Spiritual crystals and raw gemstones were all natural and extremely pure. It seems like I'll have to stop wasting time to cultivate every time I advance to the next realm. I'll have to purify my true yuan and intent realm to stabilize my foundation. Lu Ming pondered. Of course, Lu Ming would not abandon the heaven-defying function of the 9 dragons bloodline just because of this small flaw. At most, he would just spend more time to stabilize it. Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to condense his essential core and polish his artistic conception. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Lu Ming's essential core and concept had become pure and condensed again. The wind concept seems to be showing signs of a breakthrough. The concept was pure. Lu Ming could feel that the wind concept seemed to have touched a wonderful realm. Lu Ming immediately continued cultivating. Time passed day by day. In a canyon tens of thousands of miles away from Lu Ming, a shocking flame suddenly soared into the sky and a figure appeared in the flame. This figure was Wang Yang. Ha ha ha, I've finally broken through to the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming, the next time I see you will be the day of your death. Wang Yang laughed out loud, his aura extremely terrifying. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. After being injured by Lu Ming previously, not only had he fully recovered after more than 10 days, but he had also broken through to the spirit embryo realm in one fell swoop, causing his strength to skyrocket. That Lu Ming will definitely go to some strange places nearby to look for opportunities. This place is the closest to the Double Moon Mountain. I'll go to the Double Moon Mountain and stop him halfway. With that, Wang Yang's figure flickered and he disappeared without a trace. In a dark cave, corpse chi suddenly filled the air. The corpse puppet, carrying an ancient coffin, stepped out of the cave. Previously, Lu Ming had used an array formation to cut off his arm. However, the shocking thing was that the corpse puppet's arm was now intact, as if it had grown back. Furthermore, the aura on its body was extremely powerful. It was also the aura of the spirit embryo realm. That Lu Ming will definitely go to some secret places to seek opportunities. This place is the closest to the Divine Bird Cliff. I'll go to the Divine Bird Cliff to stop him. After saying that, the corpse puppet stepped out and disappeared into the sky. At an unknown distance away from Lu Ming, there was a magnificent city. The city was filled with three-eyed gods. And NBSB, within a massive palace, a few three-eyed gods were currently discussing some matters. These three-eyed gods were all tall and sturdy, and their auras were powerful. It's been another 20 years, and another group of young people has come from the outside world to hunt down my clan. Damn it, they really think of my clan as a trial. And NBSB, die. A furious roar came from one of the three-eyed god race members. Below, many of the three-eyed gods were trembling in fear, not daring to say a word. According to the ancient records, in the outside world, our tribe is unrivaled, and the human tribe is nothing more than our tribe's food. However, our ancestors were captured and brought here, and they made our tribe into the training targets of the human youths. This is absolutely not allowed. I will kill them all, not leaving a single one alive. Pass down my order, all the regions should organize an army to capture and kill those human youths. Once they are found, kill them without mercy, the three-eyed god above ordered. Yes. And NBSB, yes, Your Majesty. The other three-eyed god race members also began to follow his orders. Naturally, Lu Ming was unaware of all these. He was still cultivating. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days had passed. Lu Ming had been in closed-door cultivation for 20 days. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and a faint smile appeared on his face. The concept of wind had successfully broken through to the 3rd level. This was Lu Ming's first step towards the spirit embryo realm. It's been 20 days. The next step is to continue searching for those strange places and opportunities to obtain more fate value. Lu Ming thought. Chapter 908. 908 Paragons Everywhere. With a thought, the Book of Destiny appeared. Lu Ming's current luck value had become 2,500 points. This should be the increase from the 10,000 elephant fruits he seized last time. It had increased by more than 2,000 points. From this, it could be seen how amazing the amount of fate value one could obtain by searching for strange places and seizing opportunities. With a single thought, the Book of Destiny disappeared. Lu Ming took out the map that he had obtained from the three-eyed god and studied it. Within a radius of 100,000 miles, only the Double Moon Mountain and the Divine Bird Cliff are strange. It's very likely that there are treasures or opportunities inside. Lu Ming looked at the map for a while and kept it. Let's go to the Divine Bird Cliff and take a look first. Lu Ming randomly chose a place and flew towards the Divine Bird Cliff according to the marks on the map. The journey of tens of thousands of miles was soon completed. In front of them was a huge cliff that reached into the clouds. They could see it from far away. It was the Divine Bird Cliff. Lu Ming was about to fly over when two powerful auras burst out from the Divine Bird Cliff. Boom! With a loud boom, a figure rushed into the sky, his corpse chi billowing. Corpse puppet, he has broken through to the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's expression changed. He immediately restrained his aura and landed in the forest below to watch from a distance. At this moment, the corpse puppet's face carried a trace of fear and appeared to be in a sorry state. Corpse puppet, die. A domineering voice was heard, and demonic chi soared into the sky. A young man in a black robe appeared and blocked in front of the corpse puppet. This youth's eyes were cold and his demonic chi was monstrous. His aura was much stronger than a corpse puppet that had reached the spirit embryo realm. Luo Li, don't you go too far. The corpse puppet roared. Luo Li, little demon Lord Luo Li. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he looked solemn. There were two supreme geniuses among the imperial guards of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, and they were blood brothers. Demon Lord Luo Tian, Little Demon Lord Luo Li, and Demon Lord Luo Tian. Their talents were monstrous and extremely terrifying. They were ranked 10th on the list of top 1,000 talents. As for the Little Demon Lord, Luo Li, he was not as talented, but he was still very terrifying. He was ranked 61st on the list of top 1,000 talents. Ha ha ha, what a joke. Weaklings can only say such words. So what if I'm bullying you? Today, you will die. The luck value on your body belongs to me. Ha 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 ha. Luo Li laughed as the black mist around him churned. His demonic might was extremely powerful. He took a step forward, and his demonic might completely enveloped the corpse puppet, turning it into a demonic territory. Charred. The corpse puppet didn't dare to fight back. Its corpse chi burst out and formed a sword light, trying to break through the demonic power and escape. Die! Die! Luo Li shouted coldly as a black light burst out. The stunning blade light seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth apart. It was unparalleled and unstoppable. The corpse puppet couldn't even block a single blade. Its head was chopped off, and its corpse fell to the ground. However, the ancient coffin on the corpse puppet's back trembled and flew into the distance at an extreme speed. The human corpse transformation technique is useless in front of me. A cold voice came out of Luo Li's mouth. A blade light cut through the void and struck the ancient coffin. The ancient coffin exploded, and a skinny figure emerged from it. He was panicking and fleeing for his life. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. This was the true body of the corpse puppet. The one before was just his refined corpse. However, the refined corpse was actually no different from a human. It could open its mouth and communicate with people, which was really amazing. A saber light slashed at the corpse puppet again. No! The corpse puppet roared, and in the next moment, it was directly cut in half by the saber light. The corpse puppet, ranked 96th on the list of top 1,000 talents, had been killed just like that. It was clear how brutal the battle of destiny was. This was only the beginning, and it would only get more brutal as time went on. It wasn't an exaggeration to call it the burial ground of the top talents. After Luo Li killed the corpse puppet, he waved his hand and kept the storage ring. Then, he looked in Lu Ming's direction with his demonic eyes. Lu Ming's expression changed. Could it be that he was discovered by Luo Li despite being so far away? However, Ro Li only took a glance and sneered. He then shifted his gaze and descended toward the Divine Bird Cliff. It seems like we can't go to the Divine Bird Cliff. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Ro Li's cultivation base was too strong. Compared to him, he was far behind, so he could only avoid him. He turned around quietly and headed in the direction of the Double Moon Mountain. Not long after, they were only a few thousand miles away from the Double Moon Mountain. Lu Ming concealed his aura and slowly approached. Who knew if there were any powerful geniuses on the Double Moon Mountain? Lu Ming had to be more careful. Boom! All of a sudden, a purple flame shot up into the sky from below and blasted toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed. He took a step back and retreated rapidly, avoiding the attack. A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. Wang Yang. Lu Ming's expression changed. He realized that the aura on Wang Yang's body was extremely terrifying. It was not the aura of the spiritual ocean tier, but the spirit embryo tier. Wang Yang had also broken through to the spirit embryo realm. For a genius like Wang Yang to break through from the spiritual ocean tier to the spirit embryo tier, it was definitely not just a little bit of improvement. His battle prowess would skyrocket. Lu Ming, let's see how you die this time. Wang Yang's eyes were as cold as ice. Previously, he was severely injured by Lu Ming and almost died. He hated Lu Ming to the core. A mere piece of trash dared to seriously injure him. This was simply unforgivable. The flames on his body were several times more terrifying than they were 20 days ago. The temperature was so high that even the space began to distort. Even from a distance, Lu Ming could feel a sharp pain in his body, as if his entire body was on fire. Whoosh! In a flash, Wang Yang crossed the void and appeared in front of Lu Ming. He threw a punch at Lu Ming. A dragon's roar resounded. Lu Ming did not hold back at all and instantly exploded with all his dragon energy. 4 streams of dragon energy exploded. The vital essence in his body roared and 4 types of concepts swirled around. He activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art and threw a punch. Boom! A beam of fire soared into the sky and Lu Ming's body was sent flying. Blood spurted out of his mouth and he felt a sharp pain on his arm. The dragon scales were cracked by the flames and the surface of his arm was charred black. The fragrance of roasted meat wafted out. Too powerful. Wang Yang's battle prowess had increased by too much after breaking through to the spirit embryo realm. Even though Lu Ming's cultivation had risen to the peak 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm during this period of time, he was still far from being Wang Yang's match. His breakthrough was only a small breakthrough, while Wang Yang's was a huge breakthrough. It was incomparable. If Lu Ming had not broken through, he would not have been able to withstand a single punch and would have been seriously injured. I'm not his match right now. Let's go. Lu Ming turned around and cast the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps. He turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the distance. It's not that easy to escape. You must die today. Die. Wang Yang roared and turned into a flash of fire, chasing after Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. However, in terms of speed, Lu Ming was still faster. The distance between the two of them was slowly widening. Damn it! Wang Yang roared. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. In front of him, an extremely sharp ray of light pierced through the air and flew toward Lu Ming. Chapter 909. 909 Trapped. It was a young man in black. His entire body was like a peerless divine weapon. Jiang Taichong. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly constricted. Jiang Taichong's rank on the list of top 1,000 talents was higher than Wang Yang's. He was ranked 92nd, and his combat strength was even more terrifying. Lu Ming had never expected to meet Jiang Taichong here. It could not be such a coincidence. It was highly possible that Jiang Taichong had met Wang Yang a long time ago and was lying in ambush in the nearby area, waiting for Lu Ming. Haha, Lu Ming, let's see how you're going to run. Wang Yang laughed excitedly. Lu Ming, die. Jiang Taichong's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He swung his arm in the air, and a terrifying sword light came slashing at Lu Ming. With Jiang Taichong at the front and Wang Yang at the back, Lu Ming was in a desperate situation. With a wave of his hand, a puppet of the 1st grade of the 7th level pounced forward and was directly cut in half by Jiang Taichong's sword light. Jiang Taichong's combat strength was stronger than Wang Yang's. I can only risk it all. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. The 9-dragon bloodline emerged and Lu Ming used the bloodline fusion to transform into 9 dragons, which charged madly at Wang Yang. Roar. The 9 dragons roared as a terrifying devouring power erupted and enveloped Wang Yang. At the same time, 9 dragon claws stepped out in succession. The 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Transforming into the 9 dragons and using the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps was the purest form of the 9 dragons' heaven-treading steps, and its power could be maximized. With 6 consecutive steps, a terrifying force was blasted towards Wang Yang. You want to break through from my side? Laughable. Die. Wang Yang's entire body was ablaze with flames as he sent out a terrifying flaming fist radiance. Boom. An earth-shattering boom rang out as the flaming fist radiance dispersed the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. However, the remaining power had already been reduced by a lot. When it landed on the bodies of the 9 dragons, their bodies trembled, but they did not care and continued to pounce towards Wang Yang. You're looking for death. Wang Yang threw another punch. However, Lu Ming did not care about this punch. His dragon claw stepped in the air and he took another 6 steps. A powerful force blasted towards Wang Yang. It was a fight where he would risk his life. Boom. The terrifying fist force hit the bodies of the 9 dragons. In an instant, the scales exploded, and blood and flesh flew everywhere. A huge wound was blown on the bodies of the 9 dragons, and the hot flame force kept rushing into the wound. However, the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps also slammed down on Wang Yang. Wang Yang's expression changed as he was forced to retreat by the power of the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. Buzz. Buzz. The 9 claws of the 9 dragons stomped on the void. This time, it was extremely fast. The huge dragon body instantly turned into a stream of light, rushing past Wang Yang's head and flying towards the direction of Double Moon Mountain. Damn it! Chase! Wang Yang roared and chased after Lu Ming. Jiang Taichong did the same. One chasing and one escaping, the distance of thousands of miles was crossed in an instant. The Double Moon Mountain was right in front of them. There is indeed a powerful formation on the Double Moon Mountain. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The Double Moon Mountain was formed by two mountain peaks that intersected like two moons. At the intersection of the two mountain peaks, there was a huge stone door that seemed to be a cave. However, the area in front of the stone gate was filled with formations. Previously, he had heard the three-eyed god race mention the Double Moon Mountain briefly. The three-eyed god race did not know about formations, but from his words, Lu Ming could tell that there was a formation set up in front of the Double Moon Mountain. Therefore, Lu Ming rushed over. With the array, it was Lu Ming's chance. Buzz! Lu Ming transformed back into his human form and rushed towards the Double Moon Mountain. After he charged in, his figure constantly flickered, sometimes left and sometimes right, slowly moving forward. Buzz! Buzz! In the next moment, Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong had arrived. After the two of them arrived, they stopped with unsightly expressions. They had arrived a few days ago and already knew that there was a formation here. This little bastard is proficient in the Tao of inscription. This formation can't stop him. Wang Yang's expression was extremely ugly. Watch me break it. Jiang Taichong strode forward, and a formation emerged on the ground at once. Saber lights that looked like crescent moons slashed toward Jiang Taichong. Jiang Taichong's palm kept slashing out. The sharp and terrifying sword light kept colliding with the crescent-shaped saber light. Buzz! Buzz! The sound of metal clashing rang out. After a while, Jiang Taichong returned with no success and retreated with an ugly expression. He could not rush in at all. At this moment, Lu Ming had already passed through the layers of inscription arrays and arrived at an open space in front. There was no formation in the innermost area. If you have the ability, then come in. Lu Ming turned around and looked at Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong with a cold smile. Damn it! Wang Yang bellowed. Unfortunately, there was a formation in the air, so they couldn't get in. Lu Ming sneered. He sat cross-legged and began to recuperate. Earlier on, he had transformed into the 9 dragons and received Wang Yang's punch head-on. However, he was still injured, and his injuries were rather serious. He needed to recuperate as soon as possible. Circulating his War Dragon True Vitality, Lu Ming began to heal his injured body. Outside, Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong's faces were extremely gloomy. Lu Ming was actually recuperating in front of them. This almost made the two of them explode in anger. The array here has been around for many years and it's not very powerful. We just have to keep bombarding it and deplete the energy of the array. When the energy of the array is depleted, we can rush in and kill Lu Ming. Jiang Taichong took a deep breath to calm himself down and analyzed. Wang Yang's eyes lit up as he said happily, "Not bad, not bad. The formation here isn't particularly strong. We can definitely withstand it. As long as we keep bombarding it, we'll definitely be able to break it. Let's start." Jiang Taichong nodded. Boom! Boom! The two of them burst out with powerful auras and stepped forward at the same time, entering the area of the array. Immediately, a formation appeared, and countless crescent blade lights condensed and slashed toward the two. The two launched their attacks, clashing with the crescent blade lights. Lu Ming opened his eyes and took a look outside. He then closed his eyes again and began to recuperate. He naturally understood Jiang Taichong and Wang Yang's plan. However, at this moment, he could only recuperate first before thinking about other things. After a day and a night, Lu Ming's injuries had fully recovered. At this moment, Jiang Taichong and Wang Yang rested for a while before continuing to crack the formation. Lu Ming stood up and walked towards the stone door that was located at the intersection of the two mountains. Damn it! Seeing this, Wang Yang roared in anger. It doesn't matter. We'll block him from the outside. Even if he gets the opportunity, he won't be able to escape from our hands in the end. Jiang Taichong was much calmer than Wang Yang as he spoke. Wang Yang also calmed down and continued to break the formation. Lu Ming walked to the stone door, stretched out his hands, pressed on the stone door, and gave it a hard push. It didn't move at all. The stone door didn't move at all. Lu Ming stepped back, then took a step forward and punched the stone door. Boom! It was as if the entire earth was shaking, but the stone door still did not move or be blown open. It's so hard. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Chapter 910. 910 Breaking Through to Become a Level 7 Alchemist. Just now, he had already used 100% of his Zhen Yuan and used the prison-suppressing heaven technique. However, his punch did not break the stone door. This stone door was frighteningly hard. The next moment, Lu Ming directly exploded his dragon power. Scales appeared on his body and his muscles bulged. He was filled with explosive power. Boom! A heavy punch landed on the stone door, causing it to shake violently. The two mountains beside the stone door also shook violently, but in the end, the stone door remained intact. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming was like a ferocious beast in human form. He punched the stone door several times in a row, but he still could not break it open. It's too hard. With my cultivation level, there's still a gap. I can't break it. Lu Ming frowned. Ha ha ha, the heavens are really helping me. I'd better wait for my death outside. Seeing this, Wang Yang laughed arrogantly. Jiang Taichong also revealed a smile. Lu Ming frowned. He turned around and stopped attacking the stone door. Instead, he started to inscribe an array on the empty space. Chen-ph, you want to inscribe a formation to protect yourself? Dream on. Wang Yang sneered. Since they had seen it, they would definitely be more careful in the future. They would not enter Lu Ming's array easily. Lu Ming spent 3 hours setting up a large array. He then stopped. Indeed, Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong had both seen him inscribing a formation here. No matter how powerful the formation he had inscribed was, Wang Chong and Jiang Taishu would not be fooled into walking in. Therefore, the array that he had just carved was not a powerful killing array at all. Instead, it was an array that assisted in the cultivation of mental fire. The only way out now was strength. As long as he had enough strength, he would not need to fear Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong. Therefore, he could only break through on his own. However, Lu Ming's current martial arts cultivation was only at the peak 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. There was still the perfected spiritual ocean realm above him. He would only be able to break through to the spirit embryo realm if he went further. It was almost impossible to break through in a short time. Lu Ming estimated that the array at Double Moon Mountain could only hold Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong back for 5 days at most. It was almost impossible to break through to the spirit embryo realm in 5 days. Now, only the Tao of inscription could make it possible. Initially, Lu Ming had already lit up 10 blue spirit lamps. He was only 1 step away from becoming a 7th level alchemist. As long as his inscription Tao reached level 7, Lu Ming's strength would increase greatly. By then, he would be able to contend or even kill Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong with his inscription Tao. Originally, it wasn't the time for a breakthrough yet. It wasn't perfect yet and needed to cultivate for a period of time before it could naturally break through. However, he could not care so much now. Lu Ming had to use some means and strive to break through within 5 days. He sat down cross-legged and took out a pill. Lu Ming had bought the Spirit Enrage pill from the Talisman Amulet Sect's treasure pavilion. Consuming this pill would cause one's mental energy fire to go berserk. It could increase one's mental energy fire for a short period of time and, from there, achieve the effect of breaking through to the next realm. However, there was a risk here. If he failed to break through to the next realm, it might cause a few of his mental lamps to go out, and it would be very difficult to cultivate back later. Even if he succeeded in breaking through, his foundation would still be unstable, which would affect his future cultivation. He would need to spend time to make up for it. But now, he couldn't care so much. He had to get through the difficulties in front of him. Lu Ming had to break through to the next realm within 5 days. Lu Ming swallowed the violent spirit pill without hesitation. He then activated the meditation and started cultivating. In his sea of consciousness, his mental energy fire started to go berserk and burned even more vigorously. On the ground, the array glowed. This kind of array could also allow the mental energy fire to erupt with even more power. Time passed quickly. 1 day, 2 days. In the blink of an eye, 4 days had passed. In Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, the mental energy fire was already abnormally violent and was about to turn into an angry dragon. As the mind fire went on a rampage, the flames of the 10 mind lamps began to merge and condense into a ball that burned fiercely. Now, he had to make the blue mental fire turn purple. Once it turned purple, it meant that he had broken through to become a 7th-rank alchemist. Time flew by quickly, minute by minute. Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong continued to bombard those formations, but they were broken one by one. They were about to break through the formation and enter. This kid knows that he can't escape and is waiting for death. Wang Yang sneered. Be careful later. This brat might counterattack before he dies. Jiang Taichong said. What are you afraid of? No matter how he counterattacks, he's still a spiritual ocean-tier martial artist, so what threat can he be to us? Wang Yang sneered. Jiang Taichong also nodded. It was indeed so. They were all geniuses among geniuses. It was common for them to jump levels and kill others. Moreover, they were now in a higher realm than Lu Ming. No one could defeat them when they were in a higher realm. They were constantly bombarding the array. Lu Ming had also reached a critical point in his cultivation. In his sea of consciousness, the mental energy fire continued to condense and shrink. Slowly, when it had shrunk to its limit, a wisp of purple light spread out. A small purple spirit fire was burning slowly on the first spirit lamp. It looked small and was not burning hot, but the spirit power that it emitted was 10 times stronger than before. The purple mind fire has finally broken through. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. He now felt that as long as he willed it, a vast amount of spiritual power would be released. It seems that they haven't broken through the array. Let's wait for them. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He closed his eyes and activated the meditation to consolidate his cultivation. After half a day, there was a loud boom. Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong finally broke through the formation and stood dozens of meters away from Lu Ming. However, they did not immediately pounce on Lu Ming because they had seen him inscribe a large formation. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes and slowly got up. Lu Ming, your time of death has arrived. Wang Yang revealed a sinister smile. Oh, really? If you have the ability, come and kill me. Lu Ming revealed a contemptuous smile. H, do you think that you can be safe just because you inscribed a formation? I'll break it. Wang Yang took a step forward and a stream of flames surged towards Lu Ming along the ground. The flames passed through without any obstruction. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he avoided the flame. Wang Yang was slightly taken aback, but he immediately burst out laughing. So you're just trying to be mysterious. You don't even have a formation. Die. With that, Wang Yang's figure flickered as he pounced on Lu Ming. Jiang Taichong did not move. Instead, he guarded the surroundings to prevent any changes or to prevent Lu Ming from escaping. A dragon's roar resounded as Lu Ming burst forth with his dragon energy and threw a punch at Wang Yang. With a loud boom, Lu Ming was sent flying backward. He spat out a mouthful of blood and stomped on the ground. Ha, die. Wang Yang laughed out loud as the terrifying flames surged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed to one side, looking like he wanted to escape. However, Jiang Taichong moved and blocked Lu Ming. Chapter 911. 911 Killing Two Great Geniuses. Jiang Taichong stood in front of Lu Ming and Wang Yang rushed up from behind. Lu Ming had nowhere to run. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's expression was extremely calm. In fact, there was even a flash of killing intent. Something's wrong. For some reason, Jiang Taichong's heart suddenly jumped. He had an inexplicable sense of crisis, but he could not figure out where the sense of crisis came from. Lu Ming. Impossible. Lu Ming's cultivation level was not their match at all. Wang Yang was already closing in. At this moment, Lu Ming took a heavy step forward. Dense inscriptions appeared on the ground and a few large arrays appeared. You want to deal with us by instantly setting up a formation? Dream on. Wang Yang laughed coldly, But in the next moment, his expression changed drastically. No, this is a level 7 formation technique. How could you inscribe a level 7 formation technique in an instant? Wang Yang cried out in disbelief. An ordinary rank 7 alchemist could not inscribe a rank 7 formation in an instant. Only a rank 7 alchemist with profound spiritual power could do it. How could Lu Ming do it? Not good, retreat. Jiang Taichung's expression changed drastically, and he was about to retreat. However, it was already too late. The formation glowed, and golden vines condensed and wrapped around Jiang Taichung and Wang Yang. Break. An extremely sharp aura emanated from Jiang Taichung's body. With a wave of his hand, sharp sword qi burst out and cut at the vines. However, he was only able to cut off a few vines. These vines were called golden vines and were formed by a level 7 primary formation technique. They were extremely tough and were impervious to fire and water. Wang Yang roared in anger as flames spread out in an attempt to incinerate the vines. Although he could do so, the speed was extremely slow. The two of them were entangled for a while. Lu Ming sneered and continued to inscribe the array. Countless inscriptions glowed on his feet and palms. Purple mental energy fire danced between his eyebrows. A 7th rank alchemist. He's a 7th rank alchemist. He has to get out. Jiang Taichung roared in horror and attacked with all his might. The vines were cut off one by one. A few golden vines array could not completely trap Wang Yang and Jiang Taichung, but Lu Ming's purpose was to stop them for a while, and that was enough. Buzz. On the ground, another formation appeared. This time, it was a level 7 intermediate array, the frost hunting array. Formations were generally divided into elementary, intermediate, advanced, and peak. For example, a level 7 primary array was sufficient to deal with martial artists of the 1st to 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. If used well, it could kill a 3rd level spirit embryo realm martial artist. However, although Wang Yang and Jiang Taichung were only at the 1st level of the spirit embryo realm, their combat strength was enough to kill a 4th level spirit embryo realm cultivator. An elementary level 7 formation technique was not of much use to them. However, it was a different story for a grade 7 intermediate formation. A middle grade level 7 formation technique was able to deal with experts at the 4th to 6th level of the spirit embryo realm. However, although Lu Ming's mental energy was extremely dense and far exceeded that of an inscriber of the same level, he had just broken through to level 7. It was still impossible for him to inscribe a level 7 intermediate array in an instant. He would need some time. The time that the golden vine array had blocked Wang Yang and Jiang Taichung was enough for him to inscribe a level 7 middle array. Whoosh! Whoosh! Tuileries long spears made of ice appeared, exuding an extremely cold aura. They pierced through the air and headed toward Wang Yang and Jiang Taichung respectively. Boom! Wang Yang punched out with both fists, and a terrifying flame spread out, trying to melt the ice spear. However, to his shock, the ice spear only shrank a little after piercing through the blazing fist force and continued on its way towards Wang Yang. On the other hand, Jiang Taichung spared no effort to hack at the ice spear. Although he managed to block it in the end, it was still very difficult. A layer of white frost appeared on his body, and he trembled all over as if he was about to be frozen. Whoosh! Whoosh! To their despair, more ice spears were formed. This time, there were 24 of them. Each of them had 12 roots, and they went for the kill. The two of them tried their best to block, but the power of the ice spears was too terrifying. Although they managed to block it, they were both injured. But then, more ice spears appeared. Ah! Ah! Following that, two desperate screams rang out. Wang Yang and Jiang Taichung's bodies were pierced by a few ice spears respectively. Their bodies stiffened as they were frozen to the spot. No, don't kill me, Wang Yang cried out in fear. Although the Battle of Providence was dangerous, it was full of opportunities. No one had participated in the Battle of Providence, as they were all here to die. They all wanted to obtain great opportunities and boundless providence. Wang Yang and Jiang Taichung were naturally the same. They wanted to obtain a great opportunity in the Battle of Providence, obtain great providence, stand out from it, and surpass those stronger geniuses. How could they have thought that they were going to die less than a month after the Battle of Providence had started? How could they be willing? Wang Yang, have you forgotten what I said? I said I will kill you. Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. With a wave of his hand, the ice spear appeared and he struck again. No, no. Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong screamed in fear and madness, but they could not change the outcome. The ice spear pierced through the foreheads of the two. Then, the bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. The devouring power burst out and devoured the two. It didn't take long for the refinement to be completed. Jiang Taichong cultivated the sword concept, which was not of much use to Lu Ming. When the time came, Wang Yang's fire concept would allow Lu Ming's fire concept to break through and step into level 3. However, Lu Ming's blood meridian did not improve. The prison-suppressing Steely's bloodline was at divine level 3, while the 9 dragons' bloodline was at divine level 4. After refining it, Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief and stood up. The Book of Destiny appeared before his eyes. He noticed that the Book of Destiny's destiny had increased by 2,000 points. This was because after killing Wang Yang and Jiang Taichong, their own luck value had been taken away by Lu Ming. Now, Lu Ming's luck value was close to 5,000. Then, he looked at the stone door. He had to break this stone door. Lu Ming began to inscribe the array in front of the stone door. This time, he spent half a day to inscribe a level 7 advanced array. Lu Ming could instantly cast a beginner level 7 array. However, if he was given enough time, he could even set up a top-notch level 7 array. The formation glowed, forming a giant hammer that smashed toward the stone door. The hammer condensed by a level 7 advanced array was many times stronger than Lu Ming's attack. Boom! The stone door shook violently as if it was about to be broken. Continue. One by one, the giant hammers formed and smashed against the door. Boom! Boom! The rumbling sounds were endless. After more than a dozen attacks, the door was broken open with a bang, revealing a dark passage. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He waved his hand and a puppet walked in first. Seeing that there was no danger, Lu Ming also stepped in. After the passage, there was a huge underground secret room. Chapter 912. 912 Encountering the Little Demon Lord. This seemed to be a cave abode of an expert. There were tables, chairs, beds, and even a few bookshelves in the underground secret room. Lu Ming walked around and realized that there were only some books on the bookshelf. Lu Ming walked over and took a look at the books. The sky-leaping battle technique was a cultivation technique. Lu Ming opened it and his eyes widened. He was overjoyed. It was a deity-level cultivation technique, a low-grade deity-level cultivation technique. How precious was a god-grade cultivation technique? For example, the core cultivation technique of the 6 great ancient aristocratic families of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace was a low-grade deity-level cultivation technique. A divine-level cultivation technique could almost support an ancient family. Lu Ming had the True War Dragon technique and did not need to cultivate other cultivation techniques. It was unknown whether the True War Dragon technique that Lu Ming cultivated was low-grade or high-grade divine level, but the cultivation requirements were extremely harsh. Others could not cultivate it at all. Lu Ming had 2 disciples, family, and friends, but they could not cultivate the True War Dragon technique at all. However, he could pass on other divine-level cultivation techniques to them. Lu Ming was overjoyed as he kept it. Then, he looked at the other books. There were more than a dozen books in total. Among them, there were 2 divine-level cultivation techniques, and the others were martial arts techniques, demigod-level martial arts techniques. There were both low-grade and high-grade demigod martial techniques. This was an unimaginable wealth. Lu Ming kept all of them in ecstasy and continued to walk around. He realized that the underground secret chamber was empty. There was nothing else. Lu Ming left the underground secret chamber reluctantly. He then chose a random direction and soared into the sky. Buzz! Not long after Lu Ming left, a figure with monstrous demonic chi descended on the Double Moon Mountain. It was Little Demon Lord Luo Li. Hey! The formation here has been broken, Someone has been here. I'm not afraid of you, Rowley mumbled as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He stepped into the underground chamber and reappeared outside. As expected, someone has taken the first step. Damn it. Rowley growled and leaped into the air. The direction he chose was the direction that Lu Ming had left in. As Lu Ming flew, the muscles and bones on his body squirmed. After a while, his body shape and appearance changed greatly. Then, the inscriptions on his body glowed and he set up an array to conceal his aura. Not a single bit of aura leaked out from his body. Now, the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Demon Valley both wanted to kill him. It would be more convenient for him to act by changing his identity temporarily. Moreover, Lu Ming was not a match for the top talents on the list of top 1,000 talents for the time being. When he improved his cultivation, he would not need to be afraid of them anymore. Lu Ming flew at a slow speed. He mainly wanted to see if there were any spiritual herbs and pick them. Boom. 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 A terrifying sonic boom suddenly came from behind him, and a vast demonic might permeated the air. Stop. Immediately, a loud shout was heard. Lu Ming frowned. He stopped and turned to look. Luo Li appeared not far from Lu Ming with his vast demonic power. Kid, which direction did you come from? Rowley pointed at the direction behind him. Not bad. Lu Ming frowned. Have you ever been to the Double Moon Mountain? Rowley asked. Double Moon Mountain? What Double Moon Mountain? Lu Ming played dumb. Luo Li frowned slightly. He could tell that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. There was no way he could break the array of Double Moon Mountain. The treasures of Double Moon Mountain should not belong to Lu Ming. You've never been to the Double Moon Mountain? Did you see anyone pass by? Rowley asked. No, I've been looking for spirit herbs in this area and didn't see anyone else, Lu Ming said. Okay, then you can go. Rowley waved his hand. Lu Ming nodded and was about to leave when Luo Li's eyes flashed with killing intent. With a wave of his hand, a saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming burst out with dragon power. He turned around and threw a punch, which collided with the saber light. His body trembled and he retreated rapidly. What are you doing? Lu Ming shouted. Mph, restrain your aura and be sneaky. Kill them first. Rowley snorted coldly, but a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. Although he had casually struck out with that move, almost no one under the spirit embryo realm could block it. He did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to block it. Lu Ming's combat strength surprised him. A cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. These people were really overbearing. They were just suspicious and wanted to kill him. Fortunately, he was prepared. He sensed it the moment Luo Li made his move. Whoosh. Rowley's demonic chi rolled and he swung his palm again. A black blade light was sent flying at Lu Ming. A purple flame flashed between his brows. Lu Ming waved his hands and an array appeared in the air. It formed golden vines that wrapped around Luo Li. Carving an array in the air. You're a level 7 alchemist. It seems that you've obtained the treasure of Double Moon Mountain. Die. Rowley's killing intent surged as he roared and his blade flashed. Bang! Bang! The sturdy golden vine exploded in an instant, unable to withstand Rowley's attack. Lu Ming took a few steps forward and waved his hands. One after another, large arrays appeared. They were all beginner level 7 arrays. However, Rowley was too strong. With a slash of his saber, everything was destroyed, and all the formations were shattered. Peak of the 3rd level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. Little demon Lord Luo Li's cultivation was at the peak of the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm, but with his combat power, even if he was 3 levels higher, it would not be difficult for him to kill an ordinary 6th level spirit embryo realm ancient martial art practitioner. He was simply too strong. And this was still in the spirit embryo realm. If he was in the spiritual ocean tier, it would be easy for him to kill enemies who were 4 levels above him. A grade 7 primary formation posed no threat to Luo Li. Kill. The pitch-black demonic blade exuded a terrifying aura. The formation was shattered, and Lu Ming was swept by a blade gleam. The scales on his skin were shattered, and one of his arms was almost chopped off. Bang! On Lu Ming's body, the array that had concealed his aura collapsed and his original aura was revealed. You are Lu Ming? Ha ha ha, my luck is not bad. If I kill you, the supreme leader of the Wang clan will reward me handsomely. Luo Li laughed as his demonic might surged. A terrifying saber radiance cut through everything, shattering the formation in front of him. The terrifying saber radiance then slashed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hands and two puppets rushed out. They were easily cut in half by the saber radiance. Lu Ming, you're out of luck to have run into me. You'll die today. Ro Li laughed. However, Lu Ming waved his hands and more than 10 puppets appeared, charging at Luo Li. They were all at first and second rank of 7th level. Behind the dozen or so puppets were 9 puppets that looked like white birds. They followed the puppets in front of them and charged at Ro Li. The remaining 9 puppets were all at 4th grade 7th level. This was the highest grade puppet that Lu Ming had bought from the treasure pavilion. He could not control it if he had not broken through to become a 7th rank alchemist. Ro Li slashed with his demonic blade, and the puppets in front of him were cut into pieces. However, at this moment, the strongest puppet had arrived. Explode. Lu Ming spat out a word softly. Chapter 913. 913 Perfect Spiritual Ocean Tier. As Lu Ming uttered the word explode, the 9 4th grade 7th level puppets glowed and exploded. The puppet self-destructed. The 9 4th grade 7th level puppets self-destructed, creating a terrifying energy storm that surged toward Luo Li. Lu Ming turned around and used the 9 dragons' heaven treading steps to leave the place. Boom! 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 Ro Li's furious roar came from the violent energy, and after a few breaths, he charged out. At this moment, he was in an extremely sorry state. His clothes were in tatters, and there were many wounds on his body that were bleeding profusely. His face was pitch black as if it had been burnt. He swept his gaze around but there was no trace of Lu Ming. Ah, Lu Ming, I'll kill you. A furious roar came from Ro Li's mouth. Luo Li's killing intent towards Lu Ming was extremely strong. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven stomping steps and advanced at top speed. The self-destruction of the 9 4th grade 7th level puppets was powerful, but Lu Ming knew that it would not do much to Luo Li. It's still not enough to rely on the Tao of Inscription. Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows tightly. His Tao of Inscription was already very strong, and he could instantly cast a level 7 primary array. If coordinated well, even an ordinary 4th level Spirit Embryo Realm ancient martial art practitioner would be killed by him. He had only just broken through to become a level 7 alchemist, and that was already terrifying enough. However, Ro Li was no ordinary warrior. He was a prodigy among prodigies. My martial cultivation has to break through to the Spirit Embryo Realm as soon as possible. Only then will I have the confidence to fight against prodigies like Luo Li. The breakthrough to the Spirit Embryo Realm was imperative. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, it was a piece of cake for him to deal with ordinary Heaven's favorites or even most of the God-level Heaven's favorites. However, the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents, and even those who were ranked higher, were all monstrous geniuses. They were too strong for him. After flying for 100,000 miles, Lu Ming landed and circulated his cultivation for a while. The injury on his arm was completely healed. Then, Lu Ming took a look at his luck value. It had exceeded 10,000 and reached 10,800. He had obtained the secret manuals from the Double Moon Mountain, and his luck value had increased by more than 5,000. I've finished exploring the strange land within a radius of 100,000 li. I need to go further to explore. Lu Ming pondered and chose the west. He flew toward the west. What? After flying for a while, Lu Ming's gaze suddenly stopped. A group of figures appeared in front of him. The three-eyed god race had a total of 100 or so people, and they were flying through the sky at high speed. At this moment, the three-eyed god also saw Lu Ming. It's those human youths. Kill them. Kill them. The moment the three-eyed gods caught sight of Lu Ming, They roared and charged at him. The strongest seems to be at the 4th level of spirit embryo realm. Then, all of you will become my nourishment. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with cold killing intent. He took a few steps forward, and the inscriptions continued to seep into the void. Buzz! Buzz! The three-eyed god was extremely fast. In just a few breaths, he was already close to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a heavy step in the void. Runes glowed and an array appeared. It condensed into sword beams and slashed forward. This was a level 7 array formation, and it was extremely powerful. Those three-eyed gods below the spirit embryo realm were instantly sliced in half, killed on the spot. Roar! The bloodline of the 9 dragons appeared. With a roar, devouring power erupted. The blood essence, intent runes, and energy of the three-eyed elder god that had been killed were all devoured by Lu Ming. Even those who survived were greatly weakened by the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline. Lu Ming continued to inscribe arrays and launched a storm of attacks. Some of the 1st and 2nd level spirit embryo realm three-eyed gods found it difficult to resist and were killed under the storm of attacks. Retreat! Retreat! The leader was a 4th level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god. He had a burly body and a powerful aura, but he was currently filled with fear as he shouted in shock. Whoosh! Whoosh! Swordlight flashed, and one by one, the three-eyed god race was killed. Bang! In the end, only the 4th level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god managed to charge out of the array's range. He frantically fled into the distance, disappearing into the horizon. The other three-eyed gods were all killed by Lu Ming. What a pity! Lu Ming muttered. If he had directed all of his attacks at the 4th level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god, it would have been enough to kill him. However, the attacks were too scattered, so he had escaped. Lu Ming kept all the storage rings and controlled his 9-dragon bloodline to devour the 100 three-eyed gods and turn them into mummies before leaving the place. 10,000 miles away, Lu Ming dug out a cave in a large mountain. He carved an array at the entrance of the cave and sat cross-legged in the cave, beginning the refinement. Although most of the 100 three-eyed gods were at the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm and had perfected the spiritual ocean realm, their energy was still shocking. Lu Ming continued to refine them. Lu Ming's focus was on the concept. He would get rid of the intent he didn't need and refine the intent he needed. Among them, the fire concept was the most abundant, and there was also the thunder and wind concepts. There weren't many earth concepts, but there were a few. There was even a three-eyed god at the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm who had comprehended the earth concept. At the spirit embryo realm, one's intent would definitely be at the 3rd level. This allowed Lu Ming's earth concept to break through to the full circle of level 2. As his earth concept broke through to the perfected stage of level 2, the massive amount of energy was constantly being converted into Lu Ming's cultivation. Not long after, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed and he broke through to the perfected spirit sea realm. Buzz! Then, the bloodline of the prison-suppressing Steely emerged, exuding an ancient and heavy aura. The 3 golden chakras glowed, and the next moment, the 4th chakra emerged. The prison-suppressing Steely's bloodline had also advanced to the 4th level of the divine level. 2 hours later, Lu Ming had refined all the energy. The wind and fire concepts had improved the most, and they were approaching the lower tier of level 3. His thunder concept had also broken through to level 3. Only the earth concept was still at the great circle of level 2. His cultivation had also reached the peak of the perfected spirit ocean realm, and he was only 1 step away from the spirit embryo realm. This time, he had gained a lot. Moreover, his luck value had also increased by a few thousand. Killing these three-eyed god race beings really is worth it. Lu Ming revealed a smile. The 2nd level of the earth essence realm has been completed. Now is the time for the nature fruit to come in handy, Lu Ming pondered. The next moment, a nature fruit appeared in his hand. He swallowed it without hesitation. With a single thought, the nature manifestation fruit entered Lu Ming's body and transformed into a wondrous energy. This energy seemed to follow Lu Ming's thoughts and transformed into an extremely rich earth concept. The nature fruit could transform into anything. It was truly mysterious. Lu Ming cultivated the earth concept with the nature manifestation fruit and made rapid progress. Lu Ming took out another nature fruit after he had finished one. Previously, Lu Ming had obtained a total of Tuilavir nature fruits. 3 days later, after Lu Ming had consumed 7 nature manifestation fruits, his earth concept finally broke through the bottleneck and reached level 3. At this point, Lu Ming's 4 concepts had all reached level 3. Their power had increased to a terrifying level. Chapter 914. 914 Chapter 914 Waiting. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was not over yet. He spent the next 2 days refining the remaining 5 nature fruits. His earth concept had improved to the middle of the 3rd level. However, the effects of the 1,000 elephant fruit are getting worse and worse. Lu Ming thought to himself. The effect of the 1,000 form fruit was the best during the first 5. The further he ate, the more his body seemed to be immune to the 1,000 form fruit, and the less effective it was. If he had more nature manifestation fruits and continued to eat them, the effect would be minimal. All 4 intents had broken through to the 3rd level. The next step was to form a spirit embryo. Condensing a spirit embryo was to condense the spirit ocean into a round shape, like a placenta. That was why it was called a spirit embryo. A spirit embryo could give birth to a spirit god. It wasn't that easy to form a spirit embryo, and it required a massive amount of energy. Lu Ming had a large number of raw gemstones on him, but he did not want to waste them. Weren't there many 3-eyed gods out there? Why waste it? Lu Ming came out of the cave and found a very magnificent and more obvious mountain peak. Lu Ming began to inscribe the array on the peak of the mountain. The endless inscriptions kept entering the mountain peak. This time, he spent 2 whole days to inscribe a formation. However, this formation was a top-notch level 7 formation, and its power was extremely terrifying. After he was done, Lu Ming spent a little more time to inscribe some level 7 intermediate formations. Then, he sat cross-legged on the mountain peak. He planned to wait here for the 3-eyed god race. After all, the intent realm and true essence he devoured needed time to refine and polish. He might as well wait for the enemy to take the bait, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Lu Ming sat on the peak of the mountain, cultivating quietly with his eyes closed. 1 day, 2 days, and the first 3 days, there was no one. However, Lu Ming was not in a hurry. His essential core and artistic conception were slowly becoming pure. However, it was not enough. He still needed to condense and polish them rapidly. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. Lu Ming had been sitting there for 6 days. Buzz. And NBSB, whoosh. On the 7th day, there was the sound of air breaking. More than 20 figures appeared not far from the mountain. More than 20 figures were all young people. Some of them were young Heaven's Pride experts, while others carried long swords on their backs and were wrapped in black robes. They were men of sacrifice. These were the geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. "There's someone on the mountain." One of them looked at the mountain peak and said. The others all looked towards the mountain peak. "That person looks familiar." "Hey, it's Lu Ming." "That's Lu Ming." Someone shouted. "It's really Lu Ming. I didn't expect him to be sitting on the mountain peak so openly. Brother Luan, why don't we attack and kill Lu Ming?" The few young men all looked at a young man in armor. He was a god-tier genius from the Luan family, an ancient family. He was ranked 139th on the list of top 1,000 talents and was the leader of the crowd. At this moment, Lu Ming also opened his eyes and looked at the geniuses of the Detian Divine Palace. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Lu Ming did not disguise himself since he was going down the formation. If the paragons of the other forces wanted to kill him, he would not mind killing them and obtaining their luck points. The prodigy of the chaotic clan frowned. Back then, at the 9 Dragons Exchange meet, Lu Ming had displayed his powerful combat strength and was not much weaker than him. Now that more than half a year had passed, although he had made great progress, Lu Ming must have become stronger as well. He was not confident. Moreover, Lu Ming was sitting on the mountain peak openly. He had a bad feeling. Lu Ming is very evil. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure. Besides, he's just sitting there. I'm afraid he's up to something. Let's leave Lu Ming's life to those stronger people. We just have to spread the news," said the chosen of the chaotic clan. The others were silent for a moment before nodding. Since the prodigy of the chaotic clan had said so, the others, who were weaker in battle prowess, naturally didn't dare to make a move. "Let's go, we're leaving this place," the chosen of the chaotic clan said. Then, the group flew forward and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. These people were really cautious. He had no choice but to continue waiting. However, in less than 2 hours, a loud sound came from the front. Lu Ming saw that it was still the young man from the Luan family and his group. However, at this moment, they were panicking and in a sorry state, running for their lives. Behind them, tall and burly figures were chasing them. Behind them, there were 500 to 600 three-eyed gods pursuing them. There were quite a few powerful beings among the three-eyed gods, and their auras were extremely terrifying. "Die, human. How dare you use us as your trial targets? Die. And NBSB. Kill, kill." The three-eyed god race members all shouted as they madly pursued. They weren't using their full strength, and it was as if they were playing cat and mouse. "Stop playing around. Kill these ants as soon as possible and look for other humans. You'll be heavily rewarded for every human you kill." A deep voice rang out. "Yes, yes." An expert from the three-eyed god race responded, and his speed suddenly increased. He soared into the air and charged in front of the chosen from the Luan clan, blocking their path. Those people were shockingly at the 3rd level of spirit embryo realm. As for the youth from the Luan family, he was only at the great circle of the spiritual ocean tier. At this moment, he had a look of despair. "Hey, there's a human on that mountain. Go, kill him." At this moment, the three-eyed god race noticed Lu Ming. The leader waved his hand, and a 1st-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god immediately rushed up the mountain peak and charged at Lu Ming with a sinister smile. "Die." The three-eyed god's killing intent was icy cold. "You're the one who's going to die." Lu Ming stood up and struck out with his palm like lightning. Boom. This 1st-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god was split into pieces by Lu Ming's palm. Now that Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the perfected spirit sea realm, it was a piece of cake for him to kill an expert of the 1st-level spirit embryo realm. The prison-suppressing heavenly art must be controlled properly. It can't be too explosive. Lu Ming secretly warned himself. As the prison-suppressing Steely's bloodline was upgraded to level 4 of the divine tier, the prison-suppressing heavenly technique's power had reached the level of a low-grade divine tier martial technique. Its power was terrifying. However, the amount of essential core consumed was absolutely unimaginable. If Lu Ming were to use the white hair prison destructive divine art at full force, his entire body of essential core would be drained dry in an instant. If he was not careful, he would not be able to release much power. Looks like I'll have to stop upgrading the prison-suppressing Steely bloodline for now. I'll focus on upgrading the 9 Dragons bloodline. Otherwise, the power of the prison-suppressing heaven technique will be too strong, and my cultivation is too weak. It'll be difficult for me to use it. I'll think about it after I improve my cultivation. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. As for the chosen of the chaotic clan and the others, they were all dumbfounded. Lu Ming had actually killed a 1st-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god with one move. He was too powerful. His combat strength was definitely far above his. However, he would still die in the face of so many three-eyed gods. He's quite strong. All of you, attack him together and kill him. The leader of the three-eyed god race waved his hand, and 7 to 8 figures charged toward Lu Ming. Chapter 915. 915 Breaking Through to the Spirit Embryo Realm. These 7 to 8 three-eyed gods were all in the 1st or 2nd level of the Spirit Embryo Realm. There was even one in the 3rd level of the Spirit Embryo Realm, which was more than enough to kill Lu Ming. The 8 three-eyed god race beings were all tall and muscular, covered in scales. Their eyes were cold, like demons from the abyss. They stepped in the air, causing the air to tremble. A terrifying aura emanated from their bodies. All of the three-eyed gods who had been preparing to kill the chosen of the Luan clan suddenly stopped in their tracks and looked in Lu Ming's direction. They wanted to see how Lu Ming was going to be killed, and how the chosen of the Luan clan would be struck with even more fear. Bang! Bang! The 8 three-eyed gods landed on the mountain peak. The mountain peak rumbled as the 8 of them landed in 4 different directions, surrounding Lu Ming. Die! A second-level spirit embryo realm three-eyed god shouted coldly, and a beam of light shot out from his third eye. This beam of light was made of ice, and wherever it passed, a white passage appeared in the space, filled with ice crystals. Bang! And NBSB, Lu Ming took a step forward, and a large formation appeared on the ground. 2 ice spears were formed, one of which destroyed the three-eyed god's beam of light, while the other pierced through the three-eyed god. Not good, it's a formation. And NBSB, the other 7 three-eyed gods on the mountain all paled, and they tried to retreat, but it was too late. And NBSB, the cold air was pressing down on everyone, and 20 ice spears instantly appeared, surrounding the 7 three-eyed gods. Whoosh! Whoosh! The spear pierced through the air with unparalleled speed. The 7 three-eyed gods screamed in pain as they were killed. This was a level 7 middle-grade array technique. It was more than enough to kill a three-eyed god whose highest cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the spirit embryo realm. The other three-eyed gods all paled. And NBSB, the three-eyed god in the lead, had a grave expression on his face, and then a cold killing intent began to spread. So you've set up a formation here. Do you think that setting up a formation is of any use? Let's attack together and kill him with long-range attacks. The leader of the three-eyed god race ordered. In an instant, all the three-eyed gods surrounded Lu Ming's mountain peak. They surrounded him from all directions, making it impossible for even a drop of water to pass through. On the other hand, no one bothered with the prodigies of the chaotic clan. Let's go further away. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the prodigy of the chaotic clan and the others flew far away, hiding on a hidden mountain peak to watch. If anything went wrong, they planned to escape immediately. Kill. The leader of the three-eyed god race gave the order, and all the other three-eyed gods' third eyes glowed. Beams of light shot out at the speed of light, shooting toward Lu Ming. Within 3,000 meters, that's enough. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Even though the three-eyed gods surrounded the mountain and didn't approach it, they were still within 3,000 meters of it. This was enough. He took a step forward and a huge formation appeared on the mountain peak. The formation was made up of countless inscriptions. It was the top-notch level 7 formation that Lu Ming had spent 2 days inscribing. This formation was called the Star-Chasing Moon Formation. The formation was activated, and countless arrows were shot out in all directions. Each arrow was like a stream of light, tearing through the void as if it could chase the stars and the moon. That was how the formation got its name. Bang! 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 The beams of light shot out from the three-eyed god's eyes were all shattered, and the arrows didn't stop. They continued to shoot out in all directions. The power of a peak-grade level 7 formation was truly terrifying. The three-eyed gods were all pierced through and shot into the air. Retreat, quickly retreat. And NBSB, the remaining three-eyed gods all screamed in fear and tried to run, but they were greeted by even more arrows. Blood splattered everywhere, and agonized cries rang out. No matter if they were in the spiritual ocean tier or the spirit embryo realm, no matter if they were in the 1st level or the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm, or even stronger, they were all killed by the arrows in an instant. No. Arg. The leader of the three-eyed god race let loose a cry of terror as a vast aura erupted from his body. A terrifying black light that seemed to have the power to destroy the heavens and earth appeared. This leader of the three-eyed god race had a cultivation of the 7th-tier spirit embryo realm and was extremely powerful. However, under the attack of a peak-grade level 7 formation, it was still useless. He was pierced through by the dense arrows and turned into a hornet's nest. A level 7 high-grade array could already kill experts of the 7th level spirit embryo realm and above, let alone a top-notch level 7 array. Lu Ming had spent 2 days to set this up. In the distance, the paragon of the chaotic clan and the others were all pale with fright, and their bodies trembled in fear. They thought of how they had wanted to kill Lu Ming previously. It was a good thing they were wary and didn't attack. Otherwise, they would have been dead. This Lu Ming is too powerful. He can actually set up such a terrifying formation. We'd better not provoke him in the future. If others want to kill him and get rewards, let them do it, the Heaven's favorite of the chaotic clan said with lingering fear in his heart. That's right. We can't deal with such a monster. Let's leave this place first and find other opportunities, another person said in a low voice. That's right, let's go. Leave this place. After that, the young man from the Luan family and the others left the place carefully. And NBSB, at this moment, all of the three-eyed gods around the mountain had been killed by the formation. Lu Ming cast a glance in the direction where the youth from the chaotic family and the rest had left, but he ignored them. He was just a clown, and the highest he could get was only at the great circle of the spiritual ocean realm. Even if he killed him, he wouldn't get much. With the appearance of the 9-dragon bloodline, a violent devouring power burst forth, devouring the blood essence, energy, and intent runes of the three-eyed gods. Let's go and find a place to refine it. Lu Ming moved and left the place. He found a hidden place and started to refine. The surging energy was continuously converted into true essence and poured into the spirit sea. The blood essence was used to improve the bloodline of the 9 dragons. It's enough, there's enough energy. I'll start to break through to the spirit embryo realm now. Lu Ming circulated the true war dragon technique and began to break through to the next realm. The spiritual ocean tier was continuously expanding the area of the spiritual ocean. The larger the area of the spiritual ocean, the more Zhen Yuan it could store. However, the spirit embryo realm was completely different. One had to condense the spirit ocean into a sphere, like an embryo. This was the spirit embryo realm, and as one's cultivation continued to rise, the area of the spirit embryo would become smaller and smaller, but it would become more and more solid, and finally give birth to a spirit god. Boom, boom, boom. The spirit sea started to shake and change its shape. Lu Ming had started to break through to the next realm. This process was slow and required time. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. The spirit sea in Lu Ming's dantian had disappeared and was replaced by a huge ball. This ball was transformed from the previous spirit sea and was completely condensed from vital essence. A vast and powerful aura was emitted from the ball. Lu Ming's body also exuded a powerful aura. Spirit embryo realm, breakthrough. However, this was not the end. The energy from the hundreds of three-eyed gods he devoured was too abundant. Lu Ming's energy had not been completely consumed even after he broke through to the first level of spirit embryo realm. His cultivation was still rising rapidly. Another 3 days passed before Lu Ming's aura stabilized. His cultivation had already advanced to the second level of the spirit embryo realm. Chapter 916. 916 Great Improvement in Strength. Lu Ming's cultivation had broken through to the second level of the spirit embryo realm in one go. His strength had skyrocketed and it was much higher than before. Lu Ming felt that his entire body was filled with energy, boundless energy. Roar. Dragon roars reverberated as the 5 golden chakras on the body of the 9-dragon bloodline shone. His 9-dragon bloodline had also been upgraded to the 5th level of the divine level. This was all thanks to the leader of the three-eyed god race, who was at the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm. He was really powerful. Whether it was his blood essence or energy, they were all extremely powerful. Otherwise, Lu Ming would not have been able to have such a huge improvement. And the intent realms of wind, fire, and thunder are all at the peak of the 3rd level entry. I'm just one step away from the 3rd level lower tier. The earth intent realm is also at the late stage of the 3rd level entry. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with excitement. The function of the 9 dragons bloodline was too heaven-defying. It allowed Lu Ming's cultivation base to skyrocket. It was entirely possible for him to cultivate a few more concepts in the future. This time, be it the will or the Zhenyuan, they have both improved too much. I can already feel that the will and Zhenyuan are a little messy. I can't devour them for a while. I need to spend some time to stabilize my foundation. Lu Ming pondered secretly. However, Lu Ming did not want to go into seclusion to condense all the time. He wanted to search for treasures and opportunities while slowly building his foundation. After all, 1.5 months had passed since the Battle of Providence. There was less and less time left. Lu Ming ended his closed-door cultivation and flew high into the sky. With a flash of his body and a burst of quintessential essence, Lu Ming's figure was dozens of miles away. His vital essence is too strong. With my current cultivation, I can definitely fight with little demon Lord Luo Li, or even kill him. Lu Ming revealed a confident smile on his face. Compared to the last time he met Luo Li, Lu Ming had improved a lot. All 4 intents had broken through to the 3rd level. With the advancement of the 9-dragon bloodline, he had an additional dragon power. In addition, his cultivation had advanced to the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm. His combat strength had improved too much. Whoosh! Lu Ming turned into a stream of light and disappeared into the sky. Next, Lu Ming searched for elixirs and precious materials while he built his foundation and stabilized his cultivation. Although Lu Ming's speed was not too fast, he still flew hundreds of thousands of miles. On the way, he met a few people from the three-eyed god race, but he didn't attack them. There were powerful beings among these three-eyed god race beings, and there were quite a few of them who were above the 7th level of the spirit embryo realm. And in the spirit embryo realm, it was undoubtedly more difficult to fight across levels. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, he was confident that he would not be afraid of 7th level spirit embryo realm experts. However, it would be troublesome if he were to be surrounded by many experts of this level. Furthermore, his foundation wasn't stable yet. Even if he killed the three-eyed god race, he wouldn't be able to devour them, so he didn't make a move. On this day, Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged on a large tree, condensing his essential core and polishing his artistic conception. Suddenly, in the distant sky, 2 figures were flying forward at high speed. They were 2 young men, a man and a woman. Inscriptions glowed on their bodies. Xing Cheng flapped his wings and continued flying forward. However, they seemed to be in a panic and were in a sorry state. The Talisman Amulet Sect. Lu Ming's expression changed. This was the first time Lu Ming encountered a Talisman Amulet Sect disciple since he entered. The number of Talisman Amulet Sect members participating in the Battle of Karmic Luck was small to begin with, so the chances of encountering one were naturally small. However, the 2 Talisman Amulet Sect disciples were obviously running away with someone chasing after them. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 or 4 streaks of light streaked through the air and chased after him. They were 4 young men. From their clothes, they were actually from the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse Sect. The 2 forces had actually joined forces to pursue the Talisman Amulet Sect. Hee, you can't run away. Just come with us obediently. A paragon of the Heavenly Corpse Sect, who was covered in corpse chi, sneered. This person had a cultivation at the Great Circle of the Spiritual Ocean Tier. It had been more than 1.5 months since the War of Providence had started. In such an environment, Lu Ming was not the only one making progress. Everyone was making progress as well. Many people's cultivation levels had also improved by leaps and bounds. When they first entered, only Wang Yang and the other top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents had a cultivation at the perfected spiritual ocean realm. Even Di Feng was only at the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual ocean realm. But now, there were already quite a number of people who had broken through to the perfected spirit sea realm. There were even some who had started to charge towards the spirit embryo realm. And those heaven's favorites who were already above the spirit embryo realm naturally had a breakthrough. Everyone was improving, and if they didn't improve, they would be eliminated. Of the other 3 pursuing youths, one of them had a cultivation base at the perfected spiritual ocean realm, while the other two were at the peak 9th level spiritual ocean realm. The four of them were extremely fast as they approached the two talisman amulet sect disciples. Let's go all out with them. The talisman sect's woman shouted angrily and stopped. More than 10 inscription scrolls appeared in her hand. Mental energy fire filled the air, and the inscription scrolls lit up. Attacks burst out one after another, attacking the four people who were chasing after them. Small tricks. A saber light slashed out. It came from a purple-robed young man from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The purple-robed young man was another expert at the perfected Spirit Sea realm. Without a doubt, this man was a God-tier Heaven's favorite who had awakened a God-tier bloodline. His combat strength was extremely powerful. As the blade light flashed, the talisman sect woman's inscription scrolls were all destroyed. In the end, the blade light landed on the woman's body and broke her protective shield. The woman spat out a mouthful of blood and her body drifted back. Junior Sister Hi. The talisman sect man supported the woman, his face filled with worry. Hihi, like I said, you can't leave. Just come with us obediently. The young man from the Heavenly Corpse sect stepped forward and sneered. The four young men from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect had already surrounded the two talisman amulet sect disciples. Don't even think about it. You captured our talisman amulet sect's disciples just to help you crack the array in the ruins. That array is extremely mysterious and dangerous. Even if we were to crack it, there's a high chance that we'll die. The treasures we obtain in the end will belong to you. Don't even think about it. The talisman sect's young woman was extremely unyielding as she rebuked loudly. Do you still not understand? Your talisman amulet sect's only purpose in participating in the War of Providence is to help us crack the formations in the ruins. Otherwise, we would have killed you long ago if we saw you. Why would we have kept you alive until now? The purple-robed young man said coldly with an air of superiority. Kong Mingshang, if you want to kill me, then kill me. I'll help you break the formation. After breaking this one, there's still the next one. I'll die sooner or later. Why don't you kill me now? The young woman shouted coldly. Kong Mingshang was a heaven's favorite from the Kong family, one of the 6 great ancient families. He was ranked 198th on the list of top 1,000 talents and was a true god-level heaven's favorite. Do you want to die? It's not that easy. You're pretty good-looking. We can have a good time with you. I'll see if you beg for mercy under my majesty's eyes. The young man from the Heavenly Corpse sect sneered, and a trace of evil fire flashed in his eyes. This made the young woman's face pale. Everyone, I hope I'm not disturbing you. Lu Ming was stepping in the air and walking toward them. Chapter 917. 917 The situation of the talisman sect's disciples. Tianyun. No, Lu Ming Zongzi. The two men from the talisman sect were pleasantly surprised when they saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. The faces of Kong Mingshang and the rest changed when they saw Lu Ming. Back then, Lu Ming's combat strength was already very terrifying at the social gathering. Kong Mingshang and the other three could not help but gather together. They looked at Lu Ming with grave expressions. What's wrong? Do you think my talisman amulet sect has no one? Lu Ming's expression turned cold. A murderous intent flashed in his eyes. There are 4 of us. Why should we be afraid of him? Moreover, our cultivation and abilities have improved by leaps and bounds during this period of time. We might be able to improve even faster than Lu Ming. If the 4 of us join forces, we'll be able to kill him. A hint of viciousness and greed flashed in Kong Mingshang's eyes. Killing Lu Ming would earn him a huge reward from the Wang family supreme martial artist. This made him very tempted. When the other 3 heard Kong Mingshang's words, they were very tempted. Lu Ming was strong in the past, but that did not mean that he would always be strong. During this period of time, they had made great progress. They did not believe that the 4 of them could not kill Lu Ming with their combined strength. Lu Ming looked at Kong Mingshang with a half-smile and a hint of contempt flashed in his eyes. Attack. Let's attack together and kill him. Kong Mingshang growled. Being looked at by Lu Ming with such a gaze, Kong Ming still felt very uncomfortable. He was ranked 198th on the list of top 1,000 talents, and yet Lu Ming was looking at him with such contempt. Who was Lu Ming? Kill. The four of them roared and attacked at the same time, charging toward Lu Ming. The dazzling saber light and the boundless corpse chi enveloped Lu Ming. Zongzi, be careful. The two talisman sect disciples exclaimed in shock. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He did not move but took a step forward. Countless inscriptions emerged from under Lu Ming's feet. A large array appeared out of thin air. A fierce tiger with blazing flames condensed and roared at the sky. Kong Mingshang and the other three were shocked, and their pupils contracted. He carved an array in the void. He's a level 7 alchemist. This is a level 7 formation. No, spare my life. The four of them screamed in fear. However, the next moment, the flaming tiger pounced and tore the four of them apart. Naturally, after killing 4 people, Lu Ming's luck value increased a little. The two talisman amulet sect disciples were dumbfounded. Zongzi, Lu Ming, you've advanced to a rank 7 alchemist. The young woman was overjoyed. All the young prodigies of the talisman amulet sect knew that Lu Ming had lit up 10 spirit lamps in the first 5 levels. After that, Lu Ming entered the observatory, and the spirit lamps he lit at the 6th level were definitely not bad. With such a foundation, Lu Ming would definitely be very strong when he broke through to a 7th rank alchemist. Naturally, they would be happy. What are your names? Lu Ming nodded and asked. Zongzi, I'm Hai Fei, his Liu Guang, the young woman said. The two of them looked quite intimate, so they should be a couple. I heard you say that the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect are capturing the disciples of our Talisman Amulet sect to help them break the array formation in the ruins. What exactly is going on? Lu Ming asked. It's like this. The Heavenly Corpse sect, the Heavenly Demon Valley, and the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace have discovered a huge ruin. However, the ruins are surrounded by array formations that are extremely powerful. The Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect can't break through the array formations with their half-baked Tao of inscription. Therefore, they have set their sights on the disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect. The 3 parties have joined forces to capture the disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect and help them break the array formation. I heard that some of the disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect have already died while trying to break the array formation. Hai Fei gritted her teeth and said. A sharp glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He was treating the Talisman Amulet sect disciples as tools. Don't tell me that there aren't any experts from our Talisman Amulet sect to fight against them? Lu Ming asked. No, Hai Fei shook her head. The 13 Zongzis aren't here, and the enemy is too strong. Even if someone tries to fight them, they'll die. That's right. I heard that many Heaven's Pride experts from the 3 forces have gathered there. There are even quite a few of them who are ranked in the top 100 on the list of top 1,000 talents. The strongest ones are the Little Demon Lord Luo Li, the Li Fire Sword Li Tianji, the Blood Sword 7 and the Blood Sword 9 from the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the 2 Heaven's Pride experts from the Heavenly Demon Valley who are no weaker than the Li Fire Sword and the Little Demon Lord. Liu Guang added. Little Demon Lord, is there still Brother Litian? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Among them, Brother Litian was the highest ranked on the list of top 1,000 talents at 51st place. He was 10 places higher than Little Demon Lord Luo Li. Of course, it had been more than 4 years since the last update of the list of top 1,000 talents. Brother Litian's combat strength might not be stronger than the Little Demon Lord's, but he was definitely not to be underestimated. Where are the ruins? Lu Ming asked. Zongzi, do you really want to go? But the other side is so powerful. Hai Fei was a little worried. What's wrong? Are you afraid? If you're scared, tell me the address. I'll go alone, Lu Ming said. In the future, he would take control of the Talisman Amulet sect. In his opinion, these paragons of the Talisman Amulet sect would become the pillars of the sect and his powerful helpers. How could he let them die here? Lu Ming would definitely go and save them. Also, It was time to settle the score with the little demon lord. He had wasted so many puppets. No, I'm not afraid. If Zongzi wants to go, I'll go with him. Liu Guang, what about you? Hai Fei gritted her teeth, then looked at Liu Guang. Since you're going, I'm naturally going too. Liu Guang's determined gaze warmed Hai Fei's heart. Haha, alright, then you guys lead the way. We'll go together, Lu Ming said with a smile. The three of them immediately tore through the void and headed toward the ruins that Hai Fei had mentioned. There was a huge legacy site more than 100,000 miles away from Lu Ming and the rest. This was a group of palaces. They looked very old, and some places were already somewhat dilapidated. In all directions of the palace complex, there were all kinds of killing formations, illusory formations, overlapping each other, making it extremely dangerous. This place was first discovered by the paragons of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect, but they couldn't enter at all. They even lost a lot of people in the formation. In the end, they could only gather the nearby Heaven's Pride experts to crack the array together. In the end, even the Heaven's Pride experts of the Sky Demon Valley joined in. However, they realized that it was too difficult to break these arrays. Even if they could break them, they didn't know how long it would take. Therefore, they began to target the Talisman Amulet sect disciples and captured them everywhere. Outside the ruins, the supreme talents of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley, as well as some suicide soldiers, numbered more than 300 people. They surrounded the dozen Talisman Amulet sect disciples in the middle. Alright, we've rested enough. Let's set off now and continue to crack the array. Little demon Lord Luo Li's eyes glowed with a murderous light as he stared at the Talisman Amulet sect. Don't even think about it. If you want to break it, you can do it yourself. We won't go again. In the past 3 days, 6 of our senior and junior brothers have died in order to break the formation. A crisp sound was heard. It was by Chishue, who was also caught by them. Chapter 918. 918 Meeting Ro Li again. Not going? Sure, I'll kill you right now. And you're as beautiful as a fairy. This young master doesn't mind letting you have a good time. The little demonic lord stared at by Chishue with his eyes full of evil fire. If not for the fact that there were people from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Sky Demon Valley, he would have executed Bai Chishue on the spot. Bai Chishue's face turned pale when she saw the little demon lord's evil eyes. She did not dare to say anything. You guys go first and break the formation. The little demon lord pointed at 5 of them and said coldly. The 5 people's faces turned ugly and they sighed. He had no choice but to break the formation. If he did, he might still be able to survive. If he didn't, he would be killed. Previously, 2 Talisman Amulet sect disciples had gone against the little demon lord and were brutally killed by him. Who didn't know that the various devil lords of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace were cruel and merciless? As the 5 Talisman Amulet sect disciples walked into the ruins, the 3 parties from the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace were closely watching them. After a while, light began to shine from inside. The disciples of the Talisman Amulet sect had already begun to break the array. But not long after, a scream was heard. What's going on? The little demon lord's voice spread far and wide. A Talisman sect disciple tried to break the formation but was killed by the formation. A disciple of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace came to report. You're really trash. The little demon lord shouted coldly. Bai Chishue and the other disciples of the Talisman sect looked miserable. Among the 4 great powers, the Talisman Amulet sect was the weakest. Now that the other 3 powers had joined forces to deal with them, they had no way of resisting. These Talisman Amulet sect disciples are too weak. I'm afraid it'll be difficult to break the array here. A young man in blood-red clothes and carrying a blood-red sword on his back said coldly from the crowd of the Heavenly Corpse sect. His name was the 7th Blood Sword, and he was ranked higher than the little demon lord on the list of top 1,000 talents. That's right. If we can catch one of the 13 candidates, The possibility of cracking the seal will increase greatly, one of the Sky Demon Valley's elites said as he licked his lips. I don't know where those guys are. I haven't seen a single one these days, the seventh Bloodsword said. Not bad. The others nodded in agreement. As for the Talisman sect disciples who were killed while breaking the array, they were unconcerned. They even thought that the other party was trash who couldn't even break the array. The few of them were chatting when suddenly, their expressions changed and they looked towards the eastern sky. 3 beams of light flew over. When the light dispersed, 3 figures appeared. They were Lu Ming, Hai Fei, and Liu Guang. Lu Ming, it's you piece of trash. The little demon Lord Luo Li was the first to speak, his eyes filled with anger. Previously, he had been injured by Lu Ming's puppet. He had wanted to tear Lu Ming's bones apart. He had never expected that Lu Ming would suddenly appear here. Lu Ming, it's him. There are 2 Talisman Amulet sect disciples with him. Haha, there's actually someone who delivered himself to my door. The others all called out. This was especially so for the supreme talents of the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Demon Valley. They looked at Lu Ming with burning eyes. There would be a huge reward for killing Lu Ming. Lu Ming, what are you doing here? They want to capture our Talisman Amulet sect's disciples to help them break the formation. Hurry up and leave. Seeing Lu Ming, Bai Chishue cried out, looking anxious. There were too many paragons from the 3 forces here. They were too powerful. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he was no match for them. Lu Ming smiled at Bai Chishue and glanced around. A murderous look flashed in his eyes. Buzz. Buzz. In a flash, the supreme talents of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace and the Heavenly Demon Valley moved. They appeared around Lu Ming and vaguely cut off his escape route. Lu Ming, I'll see where you can run to this time. If I don't skin you alive, I'm not called Luo Li. The little demon lord looked at Lu Ming coldly. Didn't you want to break the formation here? I'll help you break it. Lu Ming said as he glanced at the little demon lord. You can break it. The 7th Bloodsword's eyes lit up. Lu Ming stretched out his palm and a ball of purple mental energy fire danced in his palm. A 7th rank alchemist. He exclaimed. More people's eyes lit up. How is it? I'll help you break the array, but I have a condition. Release the other Talisman sect disciples. Lu Ming said loudly. Let them go. That's impossible. Lu Ming, what right do you have to negotiate with us? The little demon lord said coldly. Haha, not bad. This Lu Ming is really an idiot. He actually delivered himself to our door. Just in time, we'll take you down. You'll still have to obediently help us break the array. A young man on Lu Ming's right sneered. This young man was called Quan Fei. He was also a peerless heaven's pride of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace, ranked 109th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Now, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the first level of the spirit embryo realm. He was extremely powerful. Even though Lu Ming was a 7th rank alchemist, he was not afraid at all. He took large strides forward and closed in on Lu Ming. Obediently surrender and help us break the formation. Quan Fei laughed coldly and strode forward, sending a palm strike at Lu Ming. This palm was extremely powerful. The huge palm force locked onto Lu Ming from all directions. Lu Ming turned his head and looked at him coldly. Get lost. Suddenly, Lu Ming roared and took a step forward. Boom. The earth rumbled and the palm force that flew out collapsed instantly. Then, Lu Ming slapped out. Pa. A slap landed directly on Quan Fei's face. Quan Fei let out a blood-curdling screech and was sent flying a few thousand meters away like a broken sack. He crashed heavily onto the ground and twitched non-stop. Sigh sigh. Gasps of shock could be heard as everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. A single slap had actually sent Quan Fei, who was at the peak of the first level of the spirit embryo realm, flying. How could Lu Ming's combat strength be so strong? Although he had been careless and did not use the blood meridian fusion, Lu Ming's combat strength was still terrifying. How dare you injure the geniuses of the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace? I'll cripple you now. The little demonic lord was furious. Demonic chi surged from his body. He took a step forward and rushed toward Lu Ming. He waved his palm in the air, and a terrifying saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He was not afraid at all. He immediately burst out with dragon energy. His body was covered in a layer of scales as he threw a punch forward. Boom! The fist radiance and the saber radiance collided, causing a violent boom. Lu Ming and the little demon lord both took 3 steps back. Impossible! The little demon lord roared in disbelief. He had never expected that Lu Ming would be able to force him to retreat with one move. Even though he did not use his full strength in the attack just now. 4th level spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The little demon Lord Luo Li was stronger than the last time. He had broken through a level and reached the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm, 2 levels higher than Lu Ming. However, even if it was 2 levels higher, so what? Lu Ming was still confident. Around him, Bloodsword 7, Bloodsword 9, and Brother Li Tian, the leaving fire sword, all the elites of the Sky Demon Valley, looked grave. Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their imagination. Chapter 919. 919 Only those with strength can negotiate. Bai Chixue and the other disciples of the Talisman sect were also dumbfounded. Lu Ming was actually able to fight against the little demon Lord Luo Li. This kind of improvement was too great. Kill! The little demonic lord roared. Demonic chi rolled around his body, and a blade light shot into the sky. Whoosh! A shocking saber radiance cut through the void and slashed toward Lu Ming. This blade was much stronger than the previous one. Let's see how you're going to block this. The little demon lord's cold voice rang out along with the saber light. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered and took a step forward. The aura on his body grew stronger, and a second dragon energy burst out in his body. Boom! Just like before, a loud boom rang out, and the energy roared. Bang! 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 This time, the little demon lord also took 3 steps back, while Lu Ming only took 2 steps back. The little demon lord was actually at a disadvantage. Everyone was shocked. Now, they had already seen that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 2nd level of the spirit embryo realm, while the little demon lord was at the 4th level of the spirit embryo realm. Lu Ming could actually cross 2 levels and suppress the little demon lord. How was this possible? It was simply inconceivable. Who was the little demon lord? He was a genius among geniuses. Ah, die, die, I want you to die. 9 Death's demon saber. The little demonic lord roared, his killing intent surging like a tide as he slashed out with his saber. Demonic might shook the sky, and the power was terrifying. You're not enough. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed toward the little demon lord. Another burst of dragon energy erupted in his body. Lu Ming's strength had increased. With every punch he threw, the space shook violently as if it would collapse at any time. Lu Ming and the little demonic lord were engaged in a fierce battle. The entire area was shaking violently. Buzz! The two of them fought from the ground to the sky, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves. Bang! Then, a figure fell to the ground at an extreme speed and stomped on the ground heavily, spitting out a mouthful of blood. It was little demon Lord Luo Li. He was injured by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stood in the air and looked down at the little demon lord with a cold gaze. Buzz! And NBSB, whoosh! At this moment, Brother Litian and the 2 powerful heavens favorites from the Sky Demon Valley surrounded Lu Ming in a flash. Luo Li, let's attack together and take down Lu Ming, Brother Litian said. Not bad. There's no need to talk nonsense with him, the sovereign of the Sky Demon Valley said. Sanguine Sword 7 and Sanguine Sword 9 also looked at Lu Ming with hostile gazes. Ha ha ha. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly burst out laughing. Lu Ming, what are you laughing at? Brother Litian said coldly. Do you think you can take me down by joining forces? How laughable. If I were to fight to the death, I'm confident that I can kill one of you. Lu Ming's cold eyes swept across Brother Li Tian and the rest. They did not know why, but when Lu Ming's gaze swept across them, their hearts turned cold. They did not doubt Lu Ming's words. When Lu Ming was fighting with the little demon lord, although the little demon lord did not use his full strength and did not use blood meridian fusion, Lu Ming did not use blood meridian fusion either. Moreover, none of them knew if Lu Ming had any other trump cards that he had not used. If he had a stronger trump card, it was still possible for him to kill one of them in a desperate battle. Who would be willing to die together with Lu Ming? At the thought of this, their expressions turned ugly. I've already said that I'm here to cooperate. Let go of the Talisman Sect's disciples and I'll help you break the array. After breaking the array, we'll leave the treasures inside to our own abilities. If we really have to fight, no one will be able to get the treasures in the ruins, Lu Ming said. This time, the scene fell into silence. Seventh Sanguine Sword and the others had grave expressions as they pondered. Lu Ming had a faint smile on his lips. This was strength. Only when one was strong could they talk about cooperation. Now, Lu Ming had already displayed his strong strength. If one didn't have the strength, it would be a joke to talk about cooperation with the other party. One would be suppressed by the other party. It's impossible to let the Talisman Amulet Sect disciples leave. If we really let them leave, we might not be able to stop you if you play any tricks, Brother Litian said. That's right. I can't let them leave, but I can ask them to break the formation with you, the Seventh Blood Sword said. He would let the Talisman Amulet Sect disciples follow Lu Ming to break the formation while they guarded the surroundings. This way, Lu Ming would not be able to play any tricks. Alright, let's do it this way. Release the Talisman Sect disciples and the Talisman Sect disciples who are breaking the array, Lu Ming said. Brother Litian and the rest nodded. Then, they had the Talisman Amulet Sect disciples walk to Lu Ming's side. Zongzi. Lu Ming Zongzi. The Talisman Amulet Sect disciples walked to Lu Ming's side and looked at him gratefully. Lu Ming nodded and looked ahead casually. He said coldly, there's still one more person, why not let him go? Bai Chishue was still in their hands. We can't let this woman go. I can see that you have a special relationship with her. In order to prevent you from playing any tricks, she must be controlled by us. The little demon lord walked to Bai Chishue and said with a cunning smile. There was a cold glint in Lu Ming's eyes. These people were all geniuses. Each of them had deep thoughts and was very meticulous. Of course, they could not trust Lu Ming completely. Alright, let's go break the formation now, Lu Ming said and strode into the legacy site. The other Talisman Sect disciples followed closely behind him. Let's go, we'll follow him, don't let him play any tricks, the little demon lord said, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He hated Lu Ming to the core. The paragons of the Heavenly Corpse sect in the Sky Demon Valley also nodded. The three parties left a few people to keep watch outside. They moved one after another and followed Lu Ming. The little demon lord even took action personally. He clasped Bai Chishue's shoulder with his fingers, not giving her a chance to escape. Lu Ming stopped after a few thousand meters. In front of them was an area densely covered with formations. This area was about 10,000 meters deep, and after crossing this area, they would reach the core of the palace complex. In other words, this 10,000-meter area was densely covered with arrays. Lu Ming took a light step on the ground and rows of inscriptions slithered forward like living snakes. The next moment, a complicated array appeared on the ground in front of him, shining with a colorful light. Lu Ming's gaze was fixed on the arrays, searching for their weaknesses and thinking of ways to crack them. A moment later, he extended a finger and waved it in the air. Inscriptions flew forward and entered the array. Bang! Bang! Immediately, a few formations collapsed, turning into light and dissipating. Brother Litian, the seventh Sanguine Sword, and the other's eyes lit up. In just a short while, Lu Ming had already cracked several arrays. There was hope for him to crack the array. At the same time, their eyes were filled with solemnness. Lu Ming's refinement path standard was beyond their imagination. Luo Li, keep a close eye on this lady. Lu Ming is well versed in the art of formations. This place is full of formations. We have to be careful to prevent him from playing any trick. Brother Litian sent a message to Luo Li. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.